Hey Alexa, is Ed Young smart?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, sorry, Coach. Sorry. Some people are geniuses, some people not quite.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning to all of you out there in internet land, podcast world. We are 757 Sports Talk is on the air on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you interact with us all morning long as we talk about the playoffs. I am Matthew Hatfield. The other guy is the coach, Ed Young. What happened on Friday night? Anything interesting?
Boy, there's too much going on Friday night. I'm kind of surprised I'm on live here right now because we didn't pull it out. 29 minutes, we were a better team last night than our opponent. And in the last 3 minutes, we handed them the game on the platter with full course dressing, so to speak. And that was hard to take. Did a lot of really good things in the first 29 minutes, but them last 3 minutes, the old Smithfield of beginning of the season came back, and Warhill was able to get us and move on. So this was not a good, for some crazy reason, I've been at this for over 30-some years. That loss last night bit me as bad as any loss I can remember. And I had a lot of bad ones. It really took me out. It was really hard to really decipher. And even this morning when I got up, because I really didn't sleep much, obviously. But it's done with, and there's a lot of other teams to see, and to cleanse my soul. As a matter of fact, today I'm going to go out and see some more basketball just to get my mind right.
Where are you headed? You going to Norview?
I think so. I'm going to go see one of my players' senior game. Darren Clark plays his final game, I think, at Regent University, and he's had a good career, first 1,000-point scorer for Regent. So I want to see him early, and then probably go over to Norview and watch a couple of those games.
Okay, well, let me know how it goes. I won't be able to do it. I've got broadcasting responsibilities and duties, but you'll hear from the winning coach, Ed's former coaching compadre. I think I saw one of the highlight packages say you were his mentor, and Paul Hall from the Warhill Lions, who escaped with a 41-38 win over the Packers on Friday night. Plus, you'll hear from Eric Brown and Gavin Kay. Hampton victorious over Manor, 74-60. We've got joining us live at about, I think it's going to be 10:05 Eastern, another Bay Rivers coach. We don't want to put you through the ringer here, but we are today. Listen, if you're going to go full throttle, you might as well go all the way in, right? Well, we have Ed watch some of his.
As long as somebody don't say something stupid that makes me go off, I'm all
makes
right.
you go off. No, he'll be kind. Jeremy Jordan of the Poquoson Bull Honors, big win for them on Friday over King William. When was the last time Poquoson won in playoff basketball? I don't even know. My archives don't even go back that far. Maybe Lynn Burks do. If you're out there, Lynn, and I know Lynn watches the show, and he's our historian extraordinaire. He's diligently working on that history of basketball at Hampton Roads book for you, Ed. I don't remember the last time they won a playoff game in the region. So great job by him and his team. And I, by the way, if you go to virginiapreps.com, it's up there for print. I correctly predicted that game. And if you want to get mad at people, get mad at me because my prediction was Warhill over you by 5, and I was off by 2 points. So.
That doesn't make me mad. I mean, they beat us twice during the year. They should beat us a third time.
Yeah.
But we had some things figured out about them this time, and for 29 minutes it kind of worked. And then things didn't happen. Some guys were just thoroughly fatigued, and I'm mad at myself. I think I should have did some more substituting than what I did because our kids at the end our key kids were just totally.
Well, to your defense, your bench doesn't go 8, 9, 10, 11 deep like you had at Nansemond River. And as some people, myself included, used to say you subbed too much, there wasn't much for you to sub. And that's not a knock on your kids. It's just a fact of the matter. I'm not giving you a built-in excuse here. And you didn't have a lot of outside shooting, 1 for 5 from deep in that game. You got really strong numbers from your point guard and Timmy Giles, who I think finished up with, looks like he had 18 points, maybe 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18 points. And then Jaden Sharonfree was a beast on the board, 16 boards, I think, for the game, although sort of contained in that fourth quarter, just didn't have the 3 through 5 guys. And of course, Charlie Archibald got loose for Warhill. But there were a bunch of games, Ed, on Friday night that were interesting across the state. I mentioned my picks that people can see all the time on our VIP board on virginiapreps.com. I went in our first night of action 32-9 as 12 of the 24 regions were in play on the boys side. We also had a bunch of games in play on the girls side too. We have full brackets for you. I keep getting asked all the time, where can I find the brackets? Where can I find the brackets? We got them up there for you free to see. Click the Tournament Central link. It'll take you right to the static links that are up there on the VHSL site and Max Preps as well. And we've got already a bunch of results. We're missing a few from last night that we'll fill in as the day goes on. But 12 of the 24 regions were in play. And already one of your picks to win a state championship, Edward, that we had on our Cox and Your Review television show is out the window. Can you believe that already? One of your picks to win a state title, you put the kibosh on them, and they're done. Kaput. Adios.
Well, I think I heard a little bit of how they lost, and that I thought I was hurting last night. Coach Gary Hall of Martinsville has to be.
Yeah.
Somebody better do an APB on him to make sure he's intact.
Well, we'll go to that in a moment in class 2. You're talking about Martinsville falling to Gretna. But let's start from the top of the board here. We'll put a little small sampling of music in the background for folks to get a little jingle to listen here too. There's Class 6 Region A. And you want to talk about a game to go see next week. The game to go see, Ed, is clearly in Chesapeake at the Dollar Dome. Oscar Smith and Lansdowne will hook up yet again in the playoffs. This is nothing new. People are used to those. And Caleb chiming in. Yeah, Caleb, I actually just got a note from one of the coaches in the Hogo-Higi district. I'm supposed to get that bracket sent my way shortly. So we'll have that up on that link. Appreciate you tuning in to the show and watching it. As Patrick Henry Glade Spring is probably the favorite on the boys' side for 1D. But we'll talk about that as we get those brackets. But as you see right there, Lansdowne all over Thomasdale at 84-35. We know how good Damian Robinson is, the sophomore, Coach Dwight Robinson's son, Rashad Shaw, part of that backcourt. But looking at some of the clips and what was on NFHS, the big fella, Alon Walker, who you saw glimpses of last year and liked against John Marshall, he's starting to become more consistent and more of a factor. And if he becomes a bigger factor, your choice of them to win the Class 6 championship, I took Westfield. You've got Lansdowne, as we did our take a team or the field picks from last week. Folks that missed that can go find it on Cova Sports TV. It might come true. They beat Thomasdale by almost 50. Smith handles Grassfield by 30+. Their guard play was pretty solid. Not a big name team for LeVar Griffin. He doesn't have, Jacoby Harper like last year or Travis Johnson, the football standard, who's already at Michigan. But they play well together, and they'll have a home court for this matchup. Meanwhile, Manchester over Cosby, and the big surprise, yes, the big surprise, a go-ahead three-pointer from Brandon Rogers as Western Branch knocks out LC Bird on the road. Bird limped to the finish line, Ed. They were 12-5 on the season, and at one point, if you recall, they were unbeaten. They were 9-0, so not a great finish for them. I think the delays, the weather, sort of derailed their season, not to give them an excuse here, but Branch knocks them off, and now Coach Charles Thomas's Bruins a win away from States. Go figure.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Everything went according to plan, except I had Bird over Branch. I didn't think Lansdowne would win that big, but boy, I like seeing it. I do like seeing it. But everything else.
Thomasdale didn't like seeing it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's And it was a nice win for Branch to beat a team such as LC Bird. That's in a low-scoring type game. I'm not sure how it went, but I would imagine that's how they have to win that game against them, and they did so.
Well, that's not their MO, though. They're not known for being a shut-you-down defensive team. It's more to shoot up a lot of threes, play up and down. So that's an encouraging sign for them. Do you give them – here's the big question, because we can tackle Lance and Oscar Smith, and I'm going to make Oscar Smith fans mad already. I don't think this game's going to be all that close on Tuesday night. I think Lansdowne's going to win by double figures. I know that seems harsh. I know Oscar Smith is talented, but this is not the same Oscar Smith team that beat them in region final last year. And Lansdowne has hit a new gear. They look like the way they're defending and playing that they can beat just about anybody in the state. And I think they'll handle business on the road. A little chip on the shoulder too, having to go on the road with the seeds. But do you give Western Branch a legit shot to go beat Manchester, the number 1 seed at 18-2?
Wish I could say yes. I hope they win. They won't. I think that will be it's going to be a little different ball game here. I think that's a double-digit win for Manchester, but I really hope Branch takes them down. Then we would definitely have a 7-5-7 final there. So
yeah, an unexpected one, right? Whether it be all Chesapeake or Lansdowne hosting Western Branch.
Right, it could be. I think Lansdowne beats Oscar Smith. I know you're saying double digits. I look at that Lansdowne score as bad as they beat Dale. You're right. You made a good phrase. They go into another gear. Can Smithfield, who handled Grassfield fairly easy too?
Smithfield, you are Smithfield. You mean Oscar Smith?
Smith. If I'm looking at Smith up here,
he had a long night, folks. We got to give him a pass. Go ahead.
That they would keep it close. I kind of think it'll be under double digits. I'll lean towards Lansdowne, but I'll keep it under double digits for that one. But I would love to see the final be a 7-5-7.
Okay. Manchester might be being slept on here. They are 18-2. They're only 2 losses to Monacan. So the first phone call I'm making, if I'm Coach Thomas, or first film I'm checking out is the Monacan game, how they beat them twice. That's what I'm doing. All right, let's go down to 6B. Can you believe that Patriot was down at halftime in this game? Not just down, Ed, but they were down double figs. It's double figs. That's double figures. 29-19. And they proceed to outscore Forest Park 45-15. Congrats to Sherman Rivers, who just got his 200th win not too long ago. And they will be taking on Potomac, which outlasted one of your buddies, Jason John, former 2-time Colonial Forge State champion coach, 62-61, a nail-biter in the region quarters. Patriot with that point guard, Elijah Gaskins, has a strong game, 19 points. They have the shooting of Sean Madrigal. The big surprise here is Garfield, 24-1, having one of its best years ever, going down against Coach Nelson's independent squad. What a win for them, 63-60. And they'll take on Gainesville, who knocked out Colonial Forge 57-47. So nobody, and I mean nobody, had Independence in Gainesville facing off for a state tournament berth, but that'll be the case. And thus, I think Patriot becomes, if they weren't the favorite going in, they're the favorite to win this region. Potomac is always talented and can be tricky, so we'll see if they do give Patriot a go.
Yeah, the one that shocks me is Garfield losing Independence. That's the one I missed here. I had Gainesville and a close one. Actually, I would figure Gainesville over Colonial Forge in an overtime situation, but that didn't happen. And then as we move out in there, I think Patriot and Potomac are the 2 best of those 4 teams left. And that's where your winner will come from. I'll go Patriot and probably Independence over Gainesville.
By the way, one of our comments says that Lansdowne reminds him or her, I'm guessing it's a him, reminds him of Green Run from last year. You see that?
Yeah. In terms of, I'd want to know in terms of how, and that they're going to make the run to Green Run did and win the state title, or they play similar style, whatever. I think.
Their personnel's a little bit different to say.
Yeah, it's a different personnel. But
I get what the message might be trying to convey, that they're kind of starting to accelerate their play as they go into the playoffs. And, of course, they had a point guard in Cash Jackson last year along with Big David Trey Miller inside they could work with. They've got a big guy emerging to go with the guard play. We know Damon Robinson could explode at any moment for a 30, 40-point game and put the team on his back, even as just a 10th grader. So I could see what he's saying, but they're a little bit different in terms of styles of play, personnel. Occoquan Region 6 seed will start coming up on Monday. Higher seeds Your buddy Doug Craig, who lost in the state finals a year ago. He doesn't have Kalen Chilton, the point guard, but he's got a nice team. Ryan Corallo brings back a lot of players next year. Stephen Marinick, some juniors and sophomores. But they lost to South County in the Patriot District Finals, Ed. South County is the number 1 seed. Mike Robinson, former Purdue standout. They've won a state title before, like Woodson has. I think those two are probably on a collision course. If I can get this bracket to work right for me, I don't know why it keeps not wanting to scroll over. I think they're on a collision course to have a rematch in the region championship. You see somebody else getting there, or do you like those two when it's all said and done?
Well, I always have a strong eye on South County, but I'm not going against my guy Doug Craig at CG Woodson. But Hatfield, I'm looking at Hatfield.
By the way, they lost in a district tournament for the first time in like forever the other day. So you think they'll bounce back from that, clear mind, they'll be okay?
I think they can, and I think that would be the team that can mess up that South County Woodson matchup at some point. I'm not looking at anybody else. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Lake Braddock. If I have to pick another one, could be in there too. But
yeah, they got the player of the year in the Patriot District. And Christian Toe, by the way, freshman for Hatfield's mighty good son of Daryl Toe. You remember Daryl Toe, player?
Yes.
Stood out. Yeah, PA back in the day. So that's an interesting bracket. I don't know that there's a state championship level team in that region, but, you never want to count out Woodson or South County because they've done it before, not these current editions. And Woodson was in the finals last year. If there's a team that might match up well with Westfield, it might be Woodson because, as we saw last year, we watched it on NFHS before we went over to Green Run Maury in the state quarters. They beat them last year in the state quarters. So there's a little bit of a psychological mental thing there for them in that area. All right, Westfield is the hands-down favorite in Region 6D. They will take on Herndon. Then the winner of Yorktown, Oakton, if they advance. George Marshall, Chantilly, Centerville, Langley, bottom half of the bracket. But I think this is Westfield's region to lose. What do you think?
I agree. I'll go Westfield. Probably, maybe Marshall, Centerville. I like Centerville too. Either Marshall or Centerville come out of there to play.
Yeah, I actually think Langley could take down Centerville. And then in the other, George Marshall's having a great year. They're 21-3. Coach Jerry Lynn doing an awesome job with that group. They defend well. They play disciplined basketball. Yorktown can shoot it with your man Jake Coulomb, who had that game winner. We watched that on the show last week on our TV portion over McLean. So we'll see if they have any heroics, if they get by Oakton and perhaps run into Westfield in the next round. So there you have it. We're going to take a timeout. Like I said, we got Jeremy Jordan coming up on the way here on Cova Sports TV. But, Ed, we want to get the suffering out of the way for you now, and you'll hear from your former coaching compadre, Paul Hall, after Warhill's win over the Packers last night. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. All right, I'm here with Warhill head basketball coach Paul Hall. He's breathing a sigh of relief now because his team survives and advances to the regional semifinals. They outlast the Smithfield Packers 41-38, rallying from 10 down to win it. Coach, if I told you coming in you'd score 41 points, just 2 above your previous season low of a game against Poquoson that you actually won, would you have believed you pulled it out tonight?
Well, we won a lot of ugly games, Matt, to be honest with you. Our style is grinding up on defense. And when we do what we're supposed to do, we're a pretty solid defense team. Tonight, the ball just wasn't going in the basket. And so a lot of times when our shots don't fall, our defense goes down. But luckily, tonight we were able to keep playing hard despite struggling on offense.
And the unsung hero is not a guy related to Nate Tiny Archibald. Instead, it's 6'5" sophomore forward Charlie Archibald. He scores 10 of his 13 points in the fourth quarter. What got him going in the final stanza?
I can't say on camera. Okay. So I told you got to step up. I told you got to step up because he was a much better ball. But he was shooting it short. Again, nerves. Yeah. We don't play in front of these big crowds in Warhill, unfortunately. Maybe we get our guys start coming out. But our crowd's kind of small. That was a loud crowd, noisy crowd. Yeah. I think nerves were getting to our guys a lot.
Yeah, I think the fan bases came out to support both of you guys, Warhill and Smithfield. And without his jumper, mid-range, and his 2 free throws, you might not have pulled this out here. Early on, both teams started out struggling, 2 of 12 in the first quarter. You're down 10 in the second and third periods, but it felt like you did a better job in the second half of not letting Jaden Sheeran kind of control the paint. Was that part of the plan or adjustment?
Well, we started double teaming. Yeah. We started double teaming because I'm like, man, he's too big, too strong to just keep letting him back us down. So when he got it, we just ran at him. He doesn't pass that well on the double team, so we ran it. He threw it away a couple times. Right there at the end, he got a turnover. So we just I don't know, man, it was a tough game.
You knew that coming in, too, that there are two guys, Tim Giles and him, 13 and 16, I think it was, for
Main
sure.
guys on the scout report.
Yeah, I mean, just make 3 through 5 beat you. And then you beat a team like this in Smithfield with your former coaching mate from years at Nance, whatever, you battled with him when you were at Western Branch, and Ed Young, twice that were close. Were you kind of a little bit nervous, apprehensive? Of course, they always say it's hard to beat a good team 3 times, as you hear that saying all the time, right?
That's what we talked about the entire time, was that we beat them twice. They're going to want it more. We got to be hungry. And in the first half, it seemed like they wanted more. We were kind of nervous. We kind of, laid back. A lot of times we have a tendency to kind of play to the level of competition. And they were actually playing very well, making shots. Giles was getting to the hole. Jaden was kind of handling things. And, I just kept running different bodies in, trying to weigh him down a little bit. I really got on Shamar because he's our best defender. He was struggling a little bit. I said, hey, you got to do something. So, he turned it up. We kind of go as Shamar goes. When he turns it up, it's a big difference.
Yeah, Shamar McCray makes you go. And also Jaden McClain in the first half, he made some shots. And again, there wasn't a lot of shots. If he doesn't make some of those, you might have been down more, correct?
Right. Well, he was the only one hitting shots the first half. And I told him, it can't just be Jaden shooting threes. It can't just be Jaden. We got to do something else. And so, luckily, and then, like I said, during the first half, it wasn't that we were getting good looks. They just weren't falling. Yeah. Our big guys were nervous. They was dropping the ball. So as the game went on, we started catching it. Started getting some shots. We turned our defensive pressure up. Guys turned over. That's really what gets us going. I didn't want to press too much the first half, because then we got used to it. So we kind of held it off to the second half. And we don't really press. We just kind of pressure a little bit.
You got the pace up and down the fourth quarter, which was
a little bit,
no question. Lastly, despite the up and down roller coaster of this game, the loss last week to Gloucester was unexpected. You guys are 17-6, and this is year 2 for you at the helm. To be a win away from states, what's that mean as you try to build this Warhill program up?
But matter of fact, 17 wins, that ties the school record, to be honest with you. We've talked a lot about, setting the tone, becoming, something special. It's only 4th winning season in school history. 2 of them has been since I've been there, not bragging, but that's
it matters.
Yeah. So we've just been trying to set the tone, set the tempo, trying to build the kind of standard that I've built at other programs. And they're grasping it. We still have a long way to go. The good thing is, win, lose, or draw, next game we got almost the entire starting five. Well, the entire starting five is coming back. So we should be pretty good. Our top 5 scorers are coming back.
Future's bright for Coach Hall Lions. Got to win tonight. Thank you so much. All the best.
All right. Thank you.
So a heck of a battle last night over there at Hampton High School between the Warhill Lions and the Smithfield Packers. It goes the way of Warhill, 41-38. You'll hear from Eric Brown and from Gavin Kay of the Hampton Crabbers coming up in a bit. But Ed will take a timeout. We'll come back with another coach from the Bay Rivers District. That is Jeremy Jordan, waiting patiently to chat with us as his team knocked off King William in Region 2A. And we'll see what's in store for them as they take on a team that I've dubbed the favorite to win Region 2A. We'll see if Ed agrees, disagrees with me. And we'll come back and chat about all that right here on 757 Sports Talk. You're watching Cove of Sports TV. Now, a quick word from those that don't make it possible. Stay tuned.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here!
We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
well, no, we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in no phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cove Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
Trust me, folks, he's plenty evil on this particular Saturday, but we bring in a guy who's far from it. A very nice guy and a winner, too. He's the head basketball coach of the Poquoson Bull Islanders, a record of 261-99 in his 15 years at Grafton, where he led the Clippers to a couple of state championships, and now has Poquoson advancing in the playoffs for the first time since, I think, BC. I don't even know what it is. He'll give us the answer if he knows it. Jeremy Jordan, his team, knocks out King William, who was 15-4, Ed. Seth Green with 16 points. Eli Green with 14 points. I'm assuming their brothers will tell us if I'm wrong. And Dom Galatgak, football standout, too, with 12 points, 58-48 over the Cowboys. We say hello and congrats to Coach Jeremy Jordan. Coach, good to have you on the program. And make sure you're nice to Ed this morning because he's a grumpy, angry guy today.
Hey guys, good morning. Glad to join you guys. It's been a while since I've been on the broadcast, but I'm excited to be back this morning and fresh off a big win for our program last night.
Yeah, I know we were looking through the archives. I haven't got an answer. I'm not sure if Lynn out there or Marty O'Brien or somebody can figure out. Do we know the last time Poquoson's won a region basketball game? Has it happened before?
I mean, from what I've been told, it's been 7 to 8 years was the number that was being tossed around. Late last night. So Marty was texting me on the way back on the bus ride, and he was going to do some digging, and but we set out as one of our goals going into the season was to make some progress in the district. We're one of the, us and Bruton are the only 2A schools in the Bay Rivers. So, one of our goals was to win more games in the Bay Rivers and be super competitive night in and night out and just compete and be prepared on a daily basis. And then, we knew that, when the initial region seedings came out, we were kind of tracking in that 11 spot, and Region 2A has 17 teams, and, they only take the top 10. So we knew that there was some work that we had to do down the stretch, and we were able to to win a couple games, and Central Lunenburg went on a little bit of a losing streak, and, we slipped into that 10 seed, and our guys were, very excited to just have an opportunity to showcase who we are, and this new style of Poquoson basketball that we're trying to implement here. And, clearly Poquoson's a very predominantly known to be a wrestling, baseball, and football school. So it's kind of uncharted territory, but we're, really excited the direction that we're going, and we're, very fortunate to have an opportunity to play last night and beat a talented King William team on their home floor last night.
Yeah, I know it's why you want to come back to your alma mater and by the administration. I know then with Mike Whittington at the time as the AD brought you in to be the head coach, which you did at Grafton. And before I let Ed jump in here, and I said this somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but I also mean it seriously because some look at the Bay Rivers District for basketball. You mentioned it, the success in wrestling and baseball or sports football too. It's not known as much, but the league has been getting better over the years, and I think you're a tribute to that. And you played 2 tough battles with Ed's squad. You won at his place. Earlier in the season, 39-36. He returned the favor and got you at your place, 47-32, 8 days ago. But playing some of the larger classification schools like Warhill, like Lafayette, like Smithfield, some 4s in there, how much has that helped you as you get ready for the playoffs? Take us through that if you can.
I mean, it's helped a tremendous amount. We only have the Bay Rivers is now comprised of enough teams that we, play 20 district games. So, even, when I went out and found, some of our non-conference schedule. I mean, Matt and Coach, you guys know me, for many years, I've always tried to schedule, opponents that were just as good, if not better than most instances than I knew with where our program was at that time. So, we were fortunate to play a Heritage and play a Kecoughtan, and I just knew that would reap some benefits for us. Whether we won or lost those games early on in the year was a little bit irrelevant. It was just about getting exposure and playing talented teams, playing teams that I knew that we could potentially see come, the region type of format with how we have to play, and we can't simulate what we see most nights, in practice. So, that was kind of one of the key things for me, was to go out and face talented teams that I knew, would press us, would make us uncomfortable, with the goal with helping us grow night in and night out. And, again, I think this year, I think 10 games this year, came down. We were down, 1 or 2, we're up 1 or 2 in 10 or 11 of those games. We lost, by 2 to Lafayette and had the ball, with the chance to win there. We lost, by 2 to Warhill, at Warhill. We lost to Grafton in double overtime by 1. We lost to Tab at the buzzer, and there was a host of other games that we were, kind of super competitive. And we beat Bruton, here in overtime, and we lost to Bruton, by 1 up there a couple weeks ago. So, I've been very pleased with our guys. I would say that, out of the 23 games that we've played this year, I don't really recall an instance where, when I got back to the locker room, I never had to have the conversation that we, didn't give it all we had, and sometimes that wasn't good enough from a win-loss perspective, but just, being able to come out and compete on a nightly basis, has been really fun to watch in year 2.
Chat with Jeremy Jordan. He's the head basketball coach of the Poquoson Bull Islanders, who defeated the King William Cavaliers on the road 58-48. They'll now travel to take on number 2 seed Thomas Jefferson of Richmond, Ed, coming up in Tuesday's quarterfinals, a team that was ranked number 9 in our last Virginia Preps Class 2 top 10 at 15-4 overall. It is Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us. Coach.
Hey, Jeremy, first of all, congrats on the win. I had you over King William in a close one.
Don't lie. You're a copycat.
Hatfield had King William in a blowout.
That's a lie. He saw the picks. Don't lie.
And but I knew you would get that one. Now, I'm just going to say it out loud. You're on your own against Thomas Jefferson.
Right.
I'm going to leave it at that, because they got some athletes. They got some up and down people. And they got people you got 2 or 3 guys they can put out there, hit those threes too. So it'll be here, but I'm going to stay impartial right now, but probably when I have to pick, I'll probably go Poquoson 21-18.
Well,
you'll kick a field goal or hit a field goal right at the end to win it. But no, I know coming into the Bay Rivers myself, when I came in, one of the first things I thought was, hell, I got to go against Jeremy Jordan and his crew. As Jeremy, you do have a great way of, I'm not going to call it, some people say slow down or deliberate. I think you play an extremely disciplined style of basketball that a lot of us other coaches don't get from our guys, where your kids don't make a lot of dumb mistakes, play with the quote within themselves. And then you force coaches to make moves. And a lot of times coaches don't, because they rely on their athletes. I told you when you beat us at our place, I said, you son of a gun, I think I got something for you next time. And I remember you telling me when we beat you, you said, you son of a gun, you beat us at our own game. And it wasn't so much that it was tough to have our kids to play more discipline, but that's what we worked on going on into your game. But it was something we wanted to do anyways. I steal from everybody, and I stole the idea of playing more disciplined style games from you. When we play other people, we have too many kids just want to go up and down. Right. That's why the doggone fans catch the ball. When you came to Poquoson, and I remember when you did this, I even said to you, Jeremy, are you all right? Did you bump your head? I mean, you've done a tremendous job at Grafton, and you wanted the new challenge. And I ask you now, I think in year 2, you've really put yourself over. But what were some of those things that coming into Poquoson, maybe 1 or 2 things that you said, okay, this is what I have to do?
Yes. I mean, so just a little bit of a background, I played here. I went to school here. My family lives here. I have a daughter who's in 8th grade here in the Poquoson City school system, and a son who is a, aspiring basketball player and athlete in the 5th grade. So, I knew that, my move here was going to be at some point, in my career. Grafton was spectacular for me. Nothing but great things to say about the opportunity, that Laura Parker and Clark Ward and Principal Gavin and, all that administration has afforded me the opportunity to, hang my hat at Grafton for 15 years. Unbelievable experience, great kids, great program. And we built that to be, kind of a state powerhouse, which I was really proud of. And, I knew that coming home was imminent at some point. And, when I made that decision, I think when Matt did the article, many coaches across the state, they, like you and a little bit, Coach, thought something was wrong with me. Why in the world would I, want to make a move over here? And when they heard the background story, they understood it. But you always have, some sweet ties, back to your hometown. And it's where I wore the uniform. I was a 2-year captain as my junior and senior year. And, we had some success back in 2001 and 2002. And I knew it can be replicated again. You just our youth programs. I mean, I'm going back to the grassroots level now. Our youth programs at the Parks and Rec level have increased by about 40%. Our student section, here at Poquoson has been unbelievable. So many of our youth players that are in the rec leagues, come with their parents to basketball games or Friday night. We had a tremendous crowd travel to King William last night in support of our guys in our program. And there's a buzz about Poquoson basketball, which hasn't existed in quite some time. And, I knew that I didn't have the caliber of athlete that I had at Grafton, and that's okay. So I knew that we had to be extremely disciplined. One thing was for sure, I was going to, still find ways to play, what I think, is one of the best defenses for high school basketball, which is the pack line defense that Tony Bennett used to run an institute at Virginia. So I made sure I brought that with us. And then we just hung our hat on trying to be strong and physical and tough and take charges and, do all those little things. And then on the offensive side of the ball, make sure that we're taking the best shot, possible. Not a lot of high school teams are very disciplined. And that really kind of helps us on a nightly basis. Because again, I think, Coach, I think you mentioned it after the first game, you kind of got caught in the spider web. And, what we try to do is we try to take away the opposing team's, top player, top scorer. We watch a ton of film. My guys were in here at 8:30 this morning, after getting back at 10:30 last night. We're in here watching film, breaking down Thomas Jefferson. I stayed up till 2:00 watching film on other games. So, we're going to be prepared, against this talented Thomas Jefferson team. Maurice Jefferson, Isaiah Harris, Justin Callaway. We have a good understanding of what those guys do and what makes them, successful. So, again, I told our guys we're playing with house money now, moving forward. So, I think we'll be prepared. I think we'll go and compete. We just hope to get it to halftime, with the score in the 20s. And just keep it within reach, right? Keep it to a 2 or 4 point game with about 4 minutes to go. And then just, see where the chips may fall. So, our guys are tired this morning, but they're in working in the gym, right now, getting some shots up, and, they're really excited about what's to come on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's a very tough Vikings team. As you mentioned, Isaiah Harris, a UVA football pledge. And certainly Ed's jealous of you from one perspective, Jeremy, that you're still playing and he isn't. But when I told him you were coming on the show this morning, he was more jealous about something else. You mentioned your son, of course, right? And
Right.
as many in this show know, Ed is a big New York Yankees fan. And as we put up on the screen here, your son just pulled a single Topps 2026 Series 1 blaster of Aaron Judge. Ed wants his Aaron Judge card. Your son got one, he didn't. So Ed's very upset about this. He's going to steal your son's card if he gets the chance. So you better tell your son to hide it from Coach Young.
I love it. Yeah, so I'm a big sports memorabilia collector and have been for many years. My father introduced me to it, when I was a young kid, and my son Hayden, he shares that same affection for sports cards and memorabilia. And he had a basketball game last Saturday, and after he won his game, he came home, and my wife had put together a little Valentine's Day, kind of a basket for the kids, and one of which was a Topps one that she got from Dick's Sporting Goods. They had just done the release. And she picked one up, and out of a $25 blaster box, that Aaron Judge 101 card. I mean, people couldn't believe it over the Sports Card Nation that one card came out of a $25 blaster, and it's actually a couple $1,000 card. So he's really excited about that, and that was an awesome moment for him and us to kind of celebrate together, last weekend.
That's really cool. Really cool. And don't you can't have his card. Don't steal it from the poor kid. You cannot take his card.
I'm not worried about the card. I will get one. I've got enough Yankee stuff. I'll get one.
Okay.
I have already offered a kid a incentive to transfer eventually to Smithfield, so he doesn't have to put up with his dad's 28-16 type of games. So he dropped 25 for us. And I got some other sports memorabilia for him. So he's mulling over the idea. And, we've been in conversation. I have another appointment set up with him later on. And we'll go from there. So, at least he wants to listen. He's going to listen. That's the key.
I love it.
Really cool. Really cool. Well, just a quick thought here before I let you run here. As you look at the whole Class 2 landscape, because I know you're a basketball junkie too, Coach. Just what's your thoughts on just the picture in general? Because this is a year people talk about it. Oh my goodness, John Marshall's not the same John Marshall. They are in your region though, by the way. So it's a team that can certainly run into you or anybody as far as the region tournament goes here. I'll put it back up on the screen here. What's in front of us for Region 2A as far as the rest of the tournament is concerned here, as I put it now on the screen here. I think there we go. Greensville County is the number 1 seed. Bruton's going to play John Marshall, Armstrong, Arcadia. But across the board, it feels pretty wide open. We mentioned on the show earlier, Martinsville lost a heartbreaker to Gretna. You got Floyd County out that way. Union in Region 2D is pretty good. It feels like Class 2 is pretty wide open with, obviously Ty Wet leaving John Marshall to go to Petersburg this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a chance really to focus primarily on all of the teams in the 2A region. I've watched film on every team out there because I just didn't know where we'd slot in for the region side. And obviously our focus, was on King William last week. It's on Thomas Jefferson, on Tuesday night. But there's some talented teams. There's some really good athletes across the region. Some good, good scores too. I do think that every team has their, some things that they're really good at. And then there's us, right? We just play such a different style than, the remaining teams. We're watching these scores, like for King William, for example. We watched one of their films the other night, and they scored 36 points in the first quarter. So we got to halftime, last night, and it was 27-15. We'd held them to 15 points in the half. So. Again, the way we play defense and the style is we're different than the remaining 8 teams in 2A, and we're okay. It's okay to be different, because being different, does, share some challenges for other teams to prepare for us. So, we run a lot of intricate sets and stuff, and hopefully they might not have as much time to prepare for us for Tuesday night, but we know that they're going to come get us. We know that they're going to come press us full court, different variations of traps and things like that. So, for us, it's all about trying to, manage each possession and not give them what we define as unforced turnovers, which lead to layups. Try to make it a half court game and really make them work, offensively to score the basketball. So, and then on the offensive side of the ball, just to be patient and take good quality looks and set up some of our backdoor cuts and some things that we're good at. But again, we're excited about Tuesday night. They've moved the game to Huguenot High School on Tuesday night at 7. So it's we'll play Thomas Jefferson still, but it'll be at Huguenot High School, is my understanding.
Good to know for any Poquoson fans that want to make the trip up there on Tuesday and support the Bull Islanders in their matchup against the Vikings of TJ from Richmond. And winner moves on to the regional semifinals in Class 2 Region A. Jeremy Jordan, head basketball coach over at his alma mater, Poquoson High School. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Always a pleasure, and I'm sure we'll talk again with you soon. And Ed's going to already be on the phone. He's paging your son to make sure he gets some playing time over at Smithfield. That's his quest now.
I read the rules. It's not recruiting when they're under 8th grade, so you can't turn in for that. And you're allowed to offer NIL deals. I can't divulge what it is, but he will have his image on a card if he plays at Smithfield. He'll have.
I love it.
One of one
card, okay.
And then we'll run some stuff against Jeremy when we play against him. That his son will be the center of focus.
Well, guys, thanks for having me this morning. I really appreciate it. Go Islanders.
We do.
Hey, Jeremy, go out and win it. I'm hoping it's you and Bruton in the final. That way I can go Bay Rivers all the way.
Be pretty sweet. I mean, my gosh, you talk about 2 classic games against Bruton. We won a game in overtime here, and then we lost a 1-point game over there a couple weeks ago. So how awesome would that be for us in a regional final? We got a long way to go to get to that point. Like I said, there's incredibly talented teams that we're up against moving forward, but we're excited.
No, I think you hit on a good point, Coach, before we let you run, is that okay, you might not be as talented as some of the Bay Rivers teams as teams in the Peninsula, Southeast Nation, but the fact that all of you from New Kent to Warhill to Smithfield, Bruton, you guys have played so many close games, I don't think the kids are as spooked in some of these moments. So that does potentially give you a big plus in some of these tight ball game situations.
No question.
Former PD guys like Chris Orlino and Daryl Barber chime in here on the program, interact with us. Always a pleasure, Coach. You be well, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Jeremy Jordan, our guest here.
Thanks, Coach. For you. Have a good one.
Next here on 757 Sports Talk. We got more coming your way. Keep it tuned. Locked and loaded to 757 Sports Talk. We'll talk some college hoops too, but go through some of the rest of the brackets across the board. Give the girls their attention too. I don't want to leave them out. We've got some picks on that as well. Ed will maybe review his picks from the show last week if you missed it, that he had our TV portion of the show that he had to win state championships. Since he's got a couple teams already knocked out, he'll have to revisit those. But we've got more coming your way right here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned to 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
James Catato.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
All right, here at the Hampton Crabbers, 2 sports standout Gavin Kay. His team wins at 74-60 over Manor as they move to 22-1 in the regional semifinals now against Warhill next week. Gavin, you were on a state championship team as a sophomore. Now you're a senior, your last hurrah. This team's been rolling since the first game of the season when you lost to Denver. You avenged that loss. How's it feel? Does it feel like this team is starting to click on all cylinders right now?
Definitely. We definitely clicking. It wasn't our best game, but we still pulled it through, and we definitely going to play better next game.
How much did Coach Eric Brown talk about coming in at Manor? They're not an ordinary 8 seed. They could hit a lot of threes, and they were in this game tonight It felt like, though, your size, you in the interior at 6'8", 6'9". What are you, 6'8" or 6'9"?
6'8".
You being so big and Abraham Taft crashing the boards, that would be y'all's advantage. Did y'all feel that coming in?
No, it definitely is. Size is definitely our advantage.
Mm-hmm. This past year, you played football. Was your first full season of varsity football or second?
First
ever. How was that for you? You got a lot of attention. I know college is looking at you, balancing football, basketball, and how's the two sports made you better in each sport, if you will?
It just made me stronger playing football.
Sure. Which one do you love more, to be honest?
Basketball.
Why is that?
Just first love.
Sure. Is that your destiny for college? You think you'll play
most
college
likely,
hoops?
yes.
Anybody looking at you for college hoops right now? Who's in the picture? Anybody yet? Or
nobody specific, but it's definitely people with interest.
Okay, well, here's a chance to sell yourself for a moment. Why would a school at the next level recruit you? What would you bring them? What do you think you possess as far as strengths and qualities?
Just all-around player, 3-level scorer.
Sure. This year you've been handling the ball a little bit at times, too, on the perimeter. How much does that just show people at the next level you can play away from the basket, too, and you have some skills handling it and shooting a little bit?
Just so them I can move a little bit.
Sure. Other night you guys played Bethel, big rivalry game, and it was the retirement of their coach. You had like 5 blocks in the first part of the game. How much do you feel like being so big that you want to intimidate people coming down the lane? You're not going to let them dunk on you, even though you can dunk on people.
No, just being a defensive presence. That's all.
You watch hoops, I'm sure, on TV, right?
Yeah.
Who are the big men or players that you like watching when you put on the basketball game? Anthony Davis. What is it about Ant you like?
I just like his game all around. He defense, offense, everything.
Sure. I think it was 4 you guys that are on the team now that are on the state championship team. It was you, Abe, I'm forgetting Cam Jennerette, and I'm forgetting one more. Jawan Tucker as well. Being a part of this now, how much do you guys push each other in practice to know what it takes and been through the grind for the younger guys to kind of show them the ropes, if you will?
We just know what it took to win the first time, so we're trying to put that same amount of effort out there every day of practice.
Sure. Last 2 for you. Hampton High's got a legacy. I know you've heard about you walking on these halls, you see the championship pictures, you hear about the guys like Cat Barber, who's at the game of the night, and Ron Curry. What's it mean to try to go out with 2 rings in 3 years and leave your own legacy?
Just to show that, we're up there with the greats of Hampton High School.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, what's it going to take for you guys and you specifically to help this team finish that journey? You got to get 1 win here to qualify for states. What's it going to take from you specifically in the group as a whole?
Just locking in on defense. Defense is our main thing. That's what defines us. So defense.
He's getting buckets, boards, and blocks too. Gavin Kay of the Hampton Crabbers, thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Back here on Cova Sports TV and 757 Sports Talk, I'm Gavin Kay of the Hampton Crabbers. 22 straight wins, Ed 74-60 as he ends up with 18 points, 9 boards. Abraham Taft, who had a monster jam, third quarter just came out and cranked that thing. 23-9 for him, so they combined for 41 and 18. You'll hear the thoughts and comments of Eric Brown, the coach, in a moment. But you've said it before, and I imagine you're going to echo it, that Hampton, as we now pull up the Class 4 Region A, your region, yeah, I know, bracket for folks, and in Class 4 across the board here for a second before we get the thoughts of Eric Brown. You've said from day one you think that they're the favorite to win this thing, and I actually agree with you on my pick. I took them over the field. They'll take on Warhill now. Denby beats Grafton by 30. Lafayette, closer game than the final score will tell you, 82-69 over Phoebus, and you've seen Lafayette up close and personal, so you got a 19-win team, an 18-win team, a 17-win team, and a team on a 22-game winning streak. Meanwhile, in Region 4B, it's Verona, Huguenot, Hanover, Monacan, Caroline, Cortland, Chancellor, Atlee. Nothing against Hanover and R.J. Spelsberg, who's won a championship at Monacan, and Caroline, Cortland, Chancellor, all those teams. Atlee, defending state champ, who's a 7 seed. Huguenot, who recently beat LC Bird. Verona is the team to beat in that region. We'll see if they do run into a Hampton again. Of course, a couple years ago, Hampton won the championship. They've beaten Verona before. Verona beat them and knocked them out last year. So there's that storyline if we get a Hampton-Verona matchup. And I'll show you the state bracket in a second. You got Heritage Leesburg taking on Loudoun County, who knocked off Woodgrove. Look at the defense for Heritage Leesburg. 17 points allowed to the Phoenix of Rockridge. Tuscarora with Grambling State signee Colin Bird will be on the show a few weeks ago after his commitment to Grambling State. Broad Run with Brian Brzezinski, Mount St. Mary's pledge. So they'll run to Tuscarora, Broad Run, Tusky. Heritage Leesburg's the 1 seed. Only loss for them came to EC Glass. And speaking of EC Glass, they're our number one team in the state in Class 4, ready to see Halifax County, who beat Jefferson Forest in a sub-region game. Millbrook beats Orange County, so they'll get Handley. Salem, GW Danville, Charlottesville, Sharando. So you have definitive favorites with Glass and Heritage Leesburg and with Hampton and Varina. But we go to what the Class 4 pairings will be. If we get those 1 seeds, you would have Hampton and Varina on other sides of the bracket, Heritage, Leesburg, and Glass on other sides of the bracket. They played once this year. What's your feel on this? Is there a team that is built to take Hampton out? Is it the team in their own region in Denby, who's the only team to beat them this year back in game 1, although the rematch was not so close as Hampton completely dominated that rematch that they had by a tune of 65-40.
I'll make this very simple. Nobody in our region is going to touch Hampton.
Denby's beaten them once, though, so they're going to argue with you. We've already done it. What do you mean touching?
I love what Denby has done. They've done a fantastic job, and they got Hampton at the very beginning of the year when Hampton wasn't really Hampton. Lafayette in our league has a lot of weapons. Warhill, who just beat us, can shoot it from anywhere. I'll say it again. Nobody in Region A is going to touch Hampton. Okay. Now, when they get out of there, it's a little different story. You've got, and you highlighted the right ones, Varina, Heritage Leesburg, EC Glass undefeated. And I'm going to throw another one in there, Broad Run. Broad Run has a nice squad too. And there's a few other ones, but I'm going to sit here talking about everybody. I'm just going to highlight those teams.
Tuscarora, who played them in a state championship a couple years ago, right?
Tuscarora is another one. I mean, it's boy, I tell you what, when you get state level 4A, there's a lot of teams that make your head spin, that catch your attention. Now, I know I've seen Hampton way more than I've seen anybody else. That front line goes along with a couple of very good heady guards, decent bench play. Eric Brown is one of the best at making adjustments as necessary in a game. I just think they have a lot going for them. Their problem will be at times kind of going to sleep in certain periods where they get away from what's working for them. But as they keep moving on, that'll be eliminated, and they'll be a force to play against. But there is some people out there that's going to challenge them in different ways. But I just think that up front strength, those kids really know how to go at it, is going to be the key. And for what it's worth, my money would be on Hampton to win a state title.
By the way, I want to go to Class 4 on the girls' side and Region A for a brief moment here because I know a lot of people are upset that Roger Smith and his ladies got shut out from some of the player of the year awards, district awards for the Eastern District. They went back-to-back 14-0 Eastern District champs. They're the number 2 seed, by the way, getting ready to take on Warhill, who beat Churchland. And then you have Grafton, the 1 seed, getting ready to host Hampton. That's coming up on Tuesday in the semis in that region. Remember, last year, Manor did not get back to the state championship game. They came close. They've been there before under Roger Smith, trying to get that championship trophy. Shonda Bailey's team has won a championship. Probably not her year, though. She's got a good team, and I think she can get Grafton despite their 22-1 record. Very possible. Some of their losses have come to really good teams like Menchville a couple of times. But as far as the girls' side for Class 4 for a second, before we shift it back to the boys and hear from Eric Brown and go through more of the brackets here, you got Louisa as a 1 in Region B. Remember, for years, Monacan was a favorite. They're an 8 seed. Hard to believe, right? I think in Monacan, some of the championship games we've called with Megan Walker, they've had, went to UConn, WNBA. It's hard to fathom them as an 8 seed. But it feels like, as we're waiting to get the rest of the brackets for C and D, it feels like Manor's got a real legit shot. You took them the other day in your picks. You sticking with that?
Yeah, in this region, I've got Manor over Hampton by a close margin. And then I think Hampton has a good – now, of course, not well-versed in the girls' basketball across the state to say, well, I got to watch out for this team in region whatever. I would like to go with either Manor or Hampton, obviously, to win it all. I think Manor right now is a little bit better than Hampton, but I'm not talking tons of points, not no 88-20 type ahead. But
right,
Louisa would be a team, obviously, to look at in terms of there. And sometimes in the girls' brackets, you get a little bit more upsets. Lower seeds beating the higher seeds than
I think you get more in the boys. I was going to counter that with you. I think you get more. It's chalkier on the girls than the boys, mostly.
Well, like I said, I can't sit here and say who's what across the state because obviously with me playing, I don't have a chance to really see a lot what's going on. I'll be the 757 homer that I am. I'd love to see come down to Manor and Hampton in the state championship game, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think two other teams to look at would be Charlottesville and would be Salem, but that's out of the other region there. You can go down to CD where you look at some of those teams there. Let's go back to the conversation. We mentioned it with Gavin Kay, who we had on earlier, played really well, and Eric Brown's going to talk more about that, along with the rest of his squad. They beat the Manor Mustangs, an 8 seed that was not your typical 8 seed, Ed, because just last week we were talking about them knocking off Lake Taylor, if you remember, late in the regular season. So they came in and they've knocked down a bunch of threes in several games. I think they hit 18 against Nansman in one game this year. So here's what Coach Brown told us after the win on Cova Sports TV.
Okay, here with Hampton Crabbers head basketball coach Eric Brown. His team wins at 74-60 of the Manor Mustangs to move to 22-1. Coach, 22 consecutive victories. This was a 4-point game in the third quarter. Then an 8-0 burst as you guys got a dunk from Abraham Taft. You drew a charge. Did you feel like at that point you had the momentum? You kind of were going to exhale. You could dodge the upset bid, if you will, which happens all the time in playoff basketball.
I mean, I didn't exhale because we just won't execute. Okay. We just won't execute at all. I tried to tell them the story about our 18 team. We had the same scenario. We played Salem at Norcom. Mm-hmm. Beat them by 37, I think, and then turned around and played them in the scope. You was there, yeah. And Northfleet hit the jumper at the buzzer to win. And I said, they coming in here to play. You can't go by whatever happened in December. You got to play basketball. They playing for their season. You playing for your season. And I told them, I said, we've been in this exact same spot before.
But the fortunate part of that was a region championship game. So it wasn't a winner-go-home game, an elimination deal. Right. Now, early on, though, you established Gavin Kay, and I'm seeing more of he's a soft-spoken young guy for you, but his skills, he can play with the basket. The other night against Bethel, he's blocking shots left and right. Certainly, he and Abraham Taft are your headliners, and tonight they combined for 41 points, 18 rebounds. What have you seen from his growth and maturation, his evolution as a player?
I mean, he's just been growing. He's been battling some leg injuries and stuff like that, so he doesn't have the same bounce he's had in the past because he never had a chance to really rehab, but he's been battling all year for us. He's still been a great defensive presence. I thought he had great moves around the basket tonight. His spin moves, spinning away from the double team, which we've really been working on because he gets doubled so much. And he's finally taking the middle of the floor. We've been telling him, take the middle of the floor. Stop trying to take the baseline. He finally took the middle of the floor a couple of times tonight. And, he was finishing. I thought that he did a great job in rebounding for us. Like I said, finishing inside. But his touches was improved so much, and he makes his free throws now. So you can't just say we're going to foul him because he's out there because he'll knock his free throws down at the end of the game.
Yeah, he hit a big jumper for you, too, when they were trying to get on a run here. And I didn't ask him because I don't want it to be bulletin board material or something for referees, but it's hard to officiate big guys. He's always getting grabbed, touched all the time, and, he commands so much attention, but it opens up the whole floor for your entire group. And the other night, Juwan Tucker shot lights out against Bethel. Tonight, he hits a key three for to kind of get you going because Manor has some three-point snipers. They're not an ordinary 8 seed.
No. We knew when they fell to 8, and, they had that big win against Lake Taylor, which was, posted one of the higher teams in our region. So we knew that would give them confidence. And then they're playing for, they're playing with a little bit of revenge. Then you're playing for your season. Yeah. When you're playing for your season, you're gonna let it hang all out. And I'll try to make sure and tell them, fellas, we're gonna have to play. Yeah. Like we're gonna have to play. You can't just, it's kind of like our 2012 team when we barely got out here against Bayside. Like you're gonna have to play basketball because everybody's in the playoffs. And my thing I always say, if you're playing them in the playoffs, they're in the same spot you in. Yeah. Then they earn their way here. No matter what the season, to me, doesn't matter. Yeah. You have to play. It's 8 teams in the playoff. Whoever you match up with, you got to execute and play and defend. And whoever does that the best consistently throughout the game will win the game.
Well, it feels like this team has all the components. We spoke about it in December after you beat Massaponax in the Iverson Showcase. You have bigs, you have shootings, you have guards, you have depth, you have all the necessary ingredients. It's just a matter of bringing your A game because if you bring your A game, you can beat anybody anytime.
Yeah. I feel like if we really playing and we're the best version of ourselves, we're a tough out. Mm-hmm. We're going to be a tough out for anyone.
Is that harder or easier to do that in the playoffs as far as getting the motivation up? Because that can be a little bit, complacent regular season. You're on a win streak. What's kind of your mindset or mood? Because you've been doing this for a while doing this.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the motivation part. Okay. I think sometimes your team needs to be woken up, and like I referenced that 2012 team, we got woken up because it could have all fell apart. And, we luckily we cleaned it up. We're going to watch this film tomorrow so we can scout ourselves first, before we worry about anybody else. We need to worry about ourselves and the mistakes we made tonight in our execution. Guys will get treatment and all that. But, we got the streak going. Like I told you before, I ain't really counting, but, everybody else is counting. So, sometimes, I told the kids before the game, but we don't need the style points. We just need to be 1 point. In the playoffs, you just need to be 1 point better. The style points don't matter no more. We had a great regular season. Yes, our regular season was great. Now, everybody that's playing now trying to win 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And our whole goal was just win. I don't care if it's ugly, just win the game. And we'll advance, and then we'll work on whatever we messed up on.
A W is a W. Thank you so much. All the best.
All right.
So that was Eric Brown as Crabbers defeat the Manor Mustangs 74-60. Ed, it just came into us. It happened yesterday, but some sad news to pass along. The passing of one of the all-time greats in baseball history, Bill Mazeroski, 8-time Gold Glove winner, and, of course, one of the most historic home runs in World Series history. Game 7, 1960, Pittsburgh Pirates beat the New York Yankees. I think it's the second greatest World Series ever after the 2001 Fall Classic when Arizona outlasted the Bronx Bombers also in 7 games. So, I mean, you got to take the 2 ones that the Yankees lost in 7 games as the top 2. But Bill Mazeroski passing away at the age of 89. Hate to hear about that, but one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, a buddy of mine texted me earlier this morning about it, Mazeroski passing. And, being a Pennsylvania native, I have he was well-known Pirate second baseman and one of the better fielding second basemen, steady ball players in the game. And that home run that they hit against the Yankees, I don't really remember it. I was too little for that one. I became a Yankee fan, I think, about 67, 68. So that was much later. But Pirates still live for that, much like Arizona, because those teams don't win many championships. So they keep those invested, whereas the Yankees, they kind of keep forgetting them because they haven't won one in a while. So now they got to worry about their next win, not their only one, like teams like Arizona, Pittsburgh, and so forth.
Here's something else. You know that? You really are. We are asking the question, what lower seed is best equipped to pull an upset in the region basketball playoffs? We're going to go rapid fire style when we come back and let Ed pick a lower seed or 2, boys or girls, from what we have. He's going to look through the brackets and tell you who's going to do it. Because I went out on a limb and took Poquoson, a 10 seed, to go beat King William. They did. I also took an 8 seed in Glenver, who had beaten Floyd County this week, to beat Liberty Bedford, a 1 seed. They didn't do it. They were in the game. It was like an 8-point loss. They were in the game. Didn't happen. But will there be a 7 or an 8? Will there be a lower seed? There's 4 games today, a quad header at Norview on the boys' side and a quad header at Maury on the girls' side. We'll come back and get Ed's thoughts on those games and more, plus some college hoops chatter before we bid adieu on this particular episode of 757 Sports Talk. You're watching with us right here on Cova Sports TV. Back in just a moment. Stay tuned. We'll hear from Town Bank and John's Tax Service.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that Infernal Revenue Service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here on Cobra Sports TV. What are you eating over there?
Indulgent.
Yes, you can. What are you eating?
Make a little bit of breakfast for me and the puppy, and he wanted some bacon and eggs today. So I said, you got it.
Oh, bacon and eggs. Look at you. Look at you. Aren't you something? So yeah, I caught him back on camera, folks, with a mouthful. I thought it was peanut M&Ms.
And as always helps, some good OJ.
Oh, he's got his OJ.
Make sure you got my money. Make sure you have my money by 5 o'clock.
I don't have your money. I do not have your money. Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. Region 5A. It's going to start on Monday, Ed. Hosting quarterfinals. This is the boys' side. Then we'll go to the girls' 5A. I'm gonna bounce around here. Actually, we're going to start with girls, rather. This is the girls' 5A.
I think it's the girls' side, 22.
It is, correct. This is girls' Region 5A. If you're watching on IG or YouTube, you're going to say, no, Greenville's not a 6 seed. This is girls here. I'm giving the ladies their shine. Princess Anne's 22-0, taking on our man Ramon Snowden's Cox ladies. How about Ramon? I feel old as dirt now that he's coaching players, don't you? Well, you do. Yeah, that's why your name is Ed Young. You feel old. Kellum Gray Bridge is your 4-5 game. How about Kellum being on the same side of the bracket as PA after they just beat Salem? They split during the year. Salem Deep Creek is your 2-3 possible semifinal unless Indian River or Green Run pulls the upset. Any upsets, yes or no? Any low seeds winning?
No. PA is going to win a state title. Everybody's playing for second place, whether it be regional or state.
PA is playing for the state title. Okay. How about 5A on the boys' side before we get to 5B? Green Run hosts Deep Creek. Salem hosts Kellum. Part of a girl-boy double dip, by the way, on Monday night. Indian River, Kempsville. You have, and by the way, Kempsville beat Indian River in the first matchup over at Franklin High School this year. They won that game. In fact, that score of that game, would you like to know it, Ed? I'm going to tell you. Here you go. It was 83-71. A lot of points on the board. A lot more than what we had with Warhill and Smithfield on Friday night. And then your 2-7 is Princess Anne Cox. PA won both meetings. Salem and Kellum split. Although the PA Cox meeting the first go-around was 57-55. Actually, they only played one time, 57-55 over Cox. So that was a 2-point game. Can Bobby Wolf's Falcons pull off the upset? Trey Freeman's Chiefs already did it once against Indian River, if you want to call it an upset. And Kellum-Salem, a 4-5 is not really an upset, but I know you love your man Norman Hassel and the Knights to try to avenge the loss they just had to Salem. that was literally last Friday night by a count of 72-55. Any upsets? Yes or no?
If you call 5 over 4, but technically it is because of seeding, I could see Kellam beating Salem, but I really don't see any of the other ones. I just don't see it.
Are you calling for Kellam to beat Salem? Yes or no?
I think Kellam will slip by him. I'm gonna make it a 52-50 game.
Wow, remember I just picked Salem to win that region about a week or two ago.
Ooh,
I did that on our TV portion of the show. You took Green Run, and then you took on the boys' side Norview. I took Nansman River. So right now, your region pick, is it still Green Run, or are you waffling on this? I know you're a pancake guy, but
no, I'm going to stay Green Run.
Okay. I like PA's draw the best. I don't know that they win the region, and this is a weird thing to say. I think they match up better with Green Run than they do Salem. So if Kellam takes out Salem, I'm not going to say it's smooth Salem, but I think PA's chances there. A lot of this is about styles and matchups there. It really is. But, athletically, Green Run has the most athleticism on the floor. It's a different team than last year for Kenny Harris. But we'll see how it goes. Let's go down to 5B on the boys' side. We'll stay on the boys' side. There are the records. How about this? Everybody except 2 teams has a winning record. It's probably going to be the final swan song. They had the nice final home game for Craig Brehan at Bethel this past week against Hampton. Really cool to see all the recognition that he so richly deserves with his 400-plus wins and all the lives he's touched. I tell you, the real touching moment, Ed, of that ceremony, and we've got the video up. People can go check it out on YouTube and Facebook if they missed it, was he spoke for 5 minutes. He'd been to a couple state championships, but he says, I didn't get the state championship, but really I got my championship by beating stage 4 cancer. And everybody came to their feet. And that was just a really – it gave you goosebumps to hear that. And we all wish Craig the very best with what he's gone through with his health off the court, but just a genuinely good guy that you definitely root for off the court, even beyond the on-the-court part. Bruins have their work cut out for them. It's a 12 noon start today at Norview. In fact, one of our comments was saying, we go back to it up here, our man Sports JV. By the way, he wants to see Smithfield play some Class 5 or Class 6 schools next year. Give Ed a shout out. He'll take your calls, whoever wants to play as Packers next year. Tickets now on sale for Norview and Maury High School games. They are. But this is an interesting region. Granby Woodside is the last game at 6. That's the good one. As far as the toss-up, I say, the other games, they're all good, but that's the really good one people are interested in the most. Does Maury, which is bit PA this year, did they knock off Nansman? Kings Fort, kick it 10? What do you think? People look forward to a possible semifinal. And I'm going to give you a little bulletin. I can't say this is breaking news or it's official yet, but a little birdie told me that there are discussions, I don't know about negotiations, but discussions about possibly moving the region championship for 5B for boys and girls, which is slated for 27th at Norview High School, to Old Dominion. How nice would that be to have that at ODU? ODU! Coming up on Friday night.
Be great. That's what we've said this many times before. Every time you hear finals in the regional, I'd say semis and finals in the regional should be on college courts so that our teams that go to state will have that opportunity to play already in that environment, background, and whatever, because that's where state championships are at Siegel Center VCU.
But Norview, real quick, Norview's going to say, we want to keep it on our floor. We play well at Norview. It's like we have magnets. That's the running joke. The magnets at Norview. The ball goes into the hoop every time. They shoot lights out at Norview. The magnets. What do you think?
I don't know. Knowing Rich at Norview, the head coach, he'll play outside, shirts and skins, if necessary. He ain't worried about where he's playing. So
that is Rick Foster. You're right. He doesn't.
Yeah, Rick Foster would do that. Now, he wouldn't be on the skins team, but, he would be on the shirt team, but they would play it. This region, I think it's Norview's. I'd like to see Nansman River, my former squad, my former assistant, Joe Hassell, do it. They've kind of hit some road bumps here later in the year. Lost to Kings Fork, second time they played them. Kings Fork's kind of getting into gear.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, Maury's coming back for Rick Heights Bulldogs next year. They bring back, I mean, not every one of them, but just about most of his group comes back next year. So they're the team built for next year real quick. But the reset button could help, kind of hitting the reset button for Nansman, because I think they can get their mojo back. I do.
Yeah, they're talented enough to do that, to face Norview in the championship game. But you also got Woodside sitting there. Let's not count them out. They lost a lot from last year, but they're here again, and they're in that sneaky fifth position. I can see them beating Granby. A close game, but I can see them beating Granby.
Is Norview ready for Granby because they've beaten them twice, or is the old adage of what you heard Paul Hall bring up about playing you a third time? Hard to beat a good team 3 times, or do you think Norview rather see Granby than Woodside because Woodside has won the last 3 region titles, a couple of state titles, and they still have some pieces like Donnell Deuce Jarrett that have been a part of those title runs?
No, I don't. Well, number one, I'm not a guy that subscribes to hard to beat a team 3 times. I hear that a lot. I don't think it's that hard. If you've beaten them twice, why can't? Now, I will say if it's 2 really close game, 1-2 point, overtime wins, yes. But other than that, no.
Well, real quick, because people wonder were they close games with Norview and Granby. They beat them 81-46 on January 28th. That is not close.
No.
But when they played back in December, I think that was the night before the state football championship because I was watching that on NFHS. It was December 10th. Yes, 74-65, and Norview had to come back in the fourth quarter on the road to win that game. So that was close.
In terms of who you want to play, a lot of coaches will just simply say, it don't matter who we play, where we play, we're just glad to be there. I don't subscribe to that. Me, I'd rather play somebody I'm familiar with. Okay. In my instance, this would just happen. We played Warhill. There was a chance we'd end up playing Denby. In fact, I had done a lot of my scouting was on Denby, and I'd written it up and everything. And then, of course, we finished 5th instead of 6th, and now it's Warhill. And I felt more comfortable because we play Warhill. And truth be told, I think we could have won or should have won both those games. We just didn't play well in those, and Warhill got us. They put a lot of shooters on the floor. And this time I felt extremely confident. And for 29 minutes last night, it was going that way. But so I would think Norview wouldn't have a problem playing Granby because they're very familiar with them. Not that they're afraid of Woodside or anybody, because they're not. But I just think most coaches would rather play teams you're familiar with because your planning's a little bit easier. And the players are a little bit more at ease because that's who they've already played. But this is, Region 5 is that knockdown, drag-out type region where you almost can give even somebody like a Maury at 12-10. It's had a struggle year, but they've come on. And Coach Sanderlin has been there, done that as a player and coach, and could have something up his sleeve for Nansman. I would not be totally shocked if the crazy upset of Maury over Nansman happens. But I think it's going to come down to Norview. I'm going to say Nansman because my heart wants that. Don't count out Kings Fork.
It could be a Kings Fork Woodside final, just as it could be a Norview Nansman.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is why when these teams play, I'm going to try to make it a point to be over there today to watch some of these games after I see my one of my former players at Regent University, Darren Clark, because you don't know really what's going to happen because these teams really go at it. And it's a very physical region. So it should be some good basketball today.
The girls' side for a second, is it a foregone conclusion Menchville wins this thing? You got Kings Fork and Nansman, the Suffolk rivals, meeting in the quarters for girls. They can certainly meet in the semis for boys. Warwick, by the way, quietly kept. Vanessa Starks has had a really nice year, 17-4 her young ladies, only 4 losses, Menchville twice, Hampton twice. So if they don't play Menchville or Hampton, they've been pretty good, right?
Yeah, you know what? I think Menchville is having one of those. Well, I mean, they always have a great year. But I think this year's even a little bit more special. We said it about PA. I'm going to say it about Menchville. This region right here is everybody's playing for the right to play Menchville in the championship.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Menchville in the States, I could see a Menchville PA
final. And by the way, I think the reason that, Adrian Webb's won a championship before, he's had some good young ladies, but this Maddie Leach he's got, who signed with James Madison, by the way, and I got to see, unfortunately, up close and personal, JMU's ladies whack our OD women last week by a wide margin. But Shauna Regan's got a good one coming because she is a long-range bomber. She can shoot it from 30 feet out. And when you have a weapon like that at someone that can shoot it from anywhere on the floor, it just changes your whole defensive scope, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can stretch the floor, and they've got their Menchville's a physical team too. So I just, like I said, no disrespect to the other squads, ladies, coaches. I'm just going to call it as a talking head. Everybody's playing for the right to play Menchville. And Menchville is, bullseye focused on state and winning a state title. So they're on their way.
Real quickly, 5C girls, you got Glen Allen, Highland Springs set to meet in the semis. Mills, Godwin, William Fleming. William Fleming, who's been in the championship game and lost, played bridesmaid, if you will, to PA before, 73-8. We know Franklin Harris is a KG veteran coach at Highland Springs, does a great job. It's chalk here. You can't really pick an upset, although of those four, who you like the most? Fleming is just jumping out to me with their defensive performance and having been there before. But again, I can't count out Franklin Harris. I can't count out Glen Allen. I kind of lead with Fleming. I don't know about you.
I'm going to lead with Fleming, but I'm not going to go crazy over it because there's some other really – Highland Springs is a pretty decent team too, but I'm going to go Fleming there.
As girls bracket here with Massaponax and Stonebridge, Riverbend, Riverside, Briarwoods, Light Ridge. It feels like Stonebridge, Massaponax probably see each other at the end. I'm going to go with Massaponax, but I don't say it with a ton of certainty or confidence. Going to 5C boys and girls for a second here. I'm sorry, 5C and 5D boys for a second. Albemarle, our man Greg Maynard, he wins it a close one again. He had a close one last year with the 1-8 game with James River. This time he outlasts Midlothian, 22-1 for his team. They'll host Glen Allen, who beat Patrick Henry Murdoch. Farron Friend is a dynamic scorer for Coach Manton over there, and they have some other pieces that have come into their own. They lost last year in the region semis in 6A to Lansdowne. Now trying to get to that state tournament ticket. That hump there would be a big leap over there. Highland Springs, who you picked to win the Class 5 boys crown on our show, on TV show last week. They'll visit James River Midlothian, who knocked out Fleming. Are you sticking to your guns with Reggie Tennyson and his Springers led by the prolific E.J. Thompson scoring it, or are you waffling again, you pancake guy?
You know, my heart goes with Greg Maynard at Albemarle. I like to see the veteran coach get one, and he's got a good squad too, so it's not just about the coaching, but he's got a very good squad. They're going to have a tough one with Glen Allen. I think they'll get by, but I'm going to stay on the platform of Highland Springs, but I really hope Albemarle takes it.
I know Coach Tennyson's going to watch this later and give me a lot of words for saying this, and I know you're picking them to win it, and they can, but I'm leaning with James River over the Springers. They have a home court. I think they're playing well together. Coach Jonathan Parker Smith there. They don't have one standout that you have to key in on exclusively, but I'm going with Albemarle to take the region. I love their inside play with Marjalen Jackson, the slashing wing. You remember him last year, and Makai Racklin. I love them even more of that point guard. Isaiah Harris is now at TJ, getting ready to play. Jeremy Jordan's Poquoson squad was still there, the football basketball standout, but he transferred during the offseason. But I think Albemarle will just eke it out against Glen Allen, and I expect both of these games to be tight. If anybody wins one of these semifinals by double figures, that might open my eyes a little bit because I think they're going to be 2 to 3 possession games pretty much for the duration of those. And then going down to 5D on the boys' side, Briarwoods is 8-17. Can they put a scare in the Kent Kling's Bulldogs of Stonebridge? Or you say, no chance. I got Stonebridge and I got Massaponax over Potomac Falls. Or does Jeff Halls, another legendary coach, find his way into the championship game? They beat Riverside, and now they take on Massaponax.
Well, first of all, hats off to Briarwoods at 7-17 winning the game, because there'll be people say you didn't belong in there with that kind of record.
Yeah, it's you. You're those guys. But you say in football you should have a 500 record or better. Why don't you be consistent in basketball and say 500 record or better? You don't go home. Why don't you say that, huh?
No, I normally say, I would say 500. It depends on the number of teams in the region, but I would say 500 record just to end the argument, because there's all kind of arguments. 500 record done with. But Briarwoods, congrats to you, and enjoy it because you're not beating Stonebridge. And Massaponax, I saw them play this year. Didn't see Potomac Falls. I will go with the upset. Potomac Falls over Massaponax.
I knew you would. You're taking Jeff Halls, the veteran coach. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that and lean towards Stonebridge to come out of there.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on who wins that region.
Yeah, this is a scratch your head region.
Well, it's not so much a scratch your head region to me as it is, I don't think the gap is that wide with Massaponax and with Stonebridge. So I guess right now I'm going to lean ever so closely Massaponax over Stonebridge, but that could go either way. It really could. And Potomac Falls, they're fully capable of moving on. It wouldn't stun me. We went through 4 earlier. boys and girls. We went through 6 on the boys' side. Let's go through 6 on the girls' side here quickly for a second, and then we'll take another timeout and do the 3 through 1, which some people are waiting for. On the girls' side, I don't have all the scores. For some reason, I'm missing some. We'll get those figured out for you later. Grassfield took care of J.R. Tucker. On the 6B girls' side, Osborne Park defended state champ. Oliver Colgan. I think they're going to win this region, and I'm making them the favorite to win the championship. That was my pick. I think you took the field, if I remember right, on our TV show. You got South County and West Potomac. South County girls have been rolling. They've won like 24 in a row. And Occoquan 6C. And then 6D. Oh, no, you didn't take the field. Yeah, you did take the field because you said you had a bunch of teams, including your man Freddie Priester at Oakton, who won the Concord District Tournament Championship, outlasting Centerville. But I got news for you. I could see a Concord sweep here. All 4 win over the Liberty District. I could see 3 of 4. Of course, James Madison won championships, multiple there. They're now a 4 seed. But I think we're set up for another Oakton-Centerville showdown in that region final. And wouldn't stun me if the 6D champ or South County ends up seeing Osborne Park when it's all said and done. I don't think the 6A champ, although Manchester's always dangerous, as we all know, coached by Rasheed Wright, former ODU standout, can get there. But I that one's got some depth. I'm going to go with Osborne Park still to win the whole thing.
And what I do? I said Oakton to win the
field.
whole thing.
You said field, but you said it was up to maybe 8, 9, 10 teams from your BCAV rankings, and you took Oakton.
And of course, you know me, I always say I like the teams that have been there, done it before, which means I like with Osborne Park situation. But I do think there's some teams in there that can step out of there. Just a lot of them. I just can't put my finger on who would it be right off the bat. But I'm gonna lean towards Oakton.
South County might be the one we're sleeping on, and girls haven't given them enough love and attention. They could be ready to pop this year and make a big splash. So we shall see. Another timeout. When we come back, we'll do 3. Class 3, Class 2, Class 1. If Ed's got any upsets, still waiting for you to call the big upset. You took a mild upset with Potomac Falls and Boise, not a grandio upset. So we'll come back with that right here, and also a little college hoops talk before we bid adieu on this particular episode. You're watching 757 Sports Talk, and right here on Cova Sports TV. Now this from those that help make it possible. Stay tuned.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Out to Brady Bishop, 15 seconds remaining. Marson, one more time. What's he do? He sinks it. 3 3-pointers in a row for number 34, Cade Morrison. He's hotter than a stolen car, Butch.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
No, I am not Butch. I am Matt Hatfield. And
I
I
mean,
mean,
caught him eating some food. See, you get on me.
I did. And I won't divulge what it is either. How you feel about them? Apples.
I tell you what.
I got chocolate on my face. That's not an apple. It's not a chocolate covered apple.
That's some good apple there. As rotten as I feel this morning, when I see that film that you just showed, that clip from what, 3-4 years ago now?
Yeah, Holston Cavaliers.
That commentary makes me feel a little bit better.
Do you think we can find Cade Morrison, wherever he is? Somebody can help us and get him on the show. I mean, I don't even know Cade Morrison. We might even know him. He just walk over to us, but he's a cult hero now because of that clip on our show.
That will go down in infamy with that clip. It's hotter than a stolen car.
Stolen car, Butch. All right, girls Class 3 Region A. Tab beats Norcom. Rough night for Norcom. Girls and boys both went out in the first round of the playoffs. New Kent's the 1 seed. Lake Taylor Lakeland also a double dip coming up on Tuesday night. So going out there and see the Titans and Cavaliers, girls and boys, like a double dip. They scheduled out of district in a way, right? Sandra Sawyer certainly got a team that can make some noise here. I like her draw. I'll tell you what, I think she's got a real shot here. It's not one of her better teams, championship level teams, but the style of play they play, they're going to defend. They got a shot here to win this game, and I wouldn't sleep on them against New Kent. I really wouldn't. Bottom half of the bracket, though, I do think your region champ's going to come from the bottom half of the bracket. Probably either Hopewell or Petersburg girls. That's just my personal opinion. Colonial Heights just took out Booker T pretty strongly, and York knocks off Heritage, the 7 seed. Heritage boys, by the way, beat Norcom in overtime. We go to the bottom part of this bracket. I'm sorry, the bottom half, the other regions, I should say. Meridian's the favorite there. I don't have the score there, but James Monroe and Skyline move on. We're still efforting getting some of their results. We'll get them in hopefully here soon. You have in 3C, Spotswood's the 1 seed. Remember, in your BCAV girls top 10 rankings, a lot of these teams are in your top 10. I think 5 or 6 of them. Liberty Christian and Western Albemarle and Broadway, Turner Ashby. It feels like someone is going to have a great chance to win a state championship out of 3C. I wouldn't put it past Coach Dodson over there at Spots. Remember, his daughter, Taylor Cook, at Heritage Leesburg won a championship last year, and he's won championships before. And then 3D girls, Bassett's the 1 seed, Abingdon, Lord Botetourt, Pulaski, William Byrd, Stanton, Christiansburg. I'm not convinced the 1 seed wins that in girls, Ed. Bassett is the one there. Do you see any upsets? Do you see a team you like the most to hoist the championship trophy? What do you think?
Well, the region that I'm looking at right now that you're putting in front of me, I was kind of like you. I like to see Lake Taylor, Sandra Sawyer do something in moving on, but my eyes are glued on to Hopewell. Don't really think you're going to see any big upsets there. We go to Class 3 Region B. If you can move, there we go. I don't know. I'm going to say
I'm looking at Brentsville pretty hard in addition to Meridian.
Yeah, I like probably Brentsville. Go 1-2 right there. But in terms of Skyline or James Monroe winning, I don't see it.
Okay. 3C.
Spotswood. I feel very strongly about Spotswood in this one. Probably again it'll come down to 1 and 2. Okay. Don't think Wilson Memorial will be able to take out Liberty Christian.
Okay. 3D. And this is the girls' bracket, by the way, for folks that are wondering.
Watch out, Lord Botetourt, the 5th seed.
They've been in a championship before. It's a good point by you.
Yeah. My eyes are looking at them. Watch out for them. I'm like you too, Bassett. I'm just not putting a whole lot of strength on.
Yeah.
Stant would be there. I'm looking at Lord Botetourt.
Okay. Let's go to Class 3 on the boys' side now. This is Class 3 Region A boys. You see New Kent is the 1 seed, ready to host Heritage. They played last year. If I'm not mistaken, last year it was an overtime game that New Kent won over Heritage down to the wire. Hopewell, Petersburg. How about that? Meeting in an quarterfinal game. That was expected to be the championship game, if you remember. That was expected to be the championship game in the summertime before Hopewell had the defections. Lake Taylor hosts Lakeland. Tab visits Colonial Heights. Petersburg, it's their time now, though, right?
Yeah, I would say, I said it again, I'll say it again. Everybody playing for the right to play Petersburg in the state tournament. So I'll say it in the regional, same thing. It's probably Lake Taylor and Petersburg. I think Petersburg beats Lake Taylor, but they both move on in the state. And hey, could they not meet for a state championship?
They could. The way the bracket is set up, they could very well do just that. Lake Taylor got the better end of that with the draw opposite New Kent. So being a 2 seed has more of an advantage than being a 1 seed, unfortunately, for New Kent here. We'll see if they could shock the world if they do beat Heritage and get to host Petersburg, as most expect them to do as far as hosting. But I'm with you. I think it's Petersburg.
What's going to hurt New Kent is, unfortunately, they lost their leading scorer, Marty Ray, kid that.
Oh, he is out. I remember I mentioned to you I thought he was hurt. So that is the story.
Broken ankle. And I saw the X-rays. Coach had showed me the X-ray. I talked to the youngster before we played him the other day. Really, I felt bad for the kid. He's a tough, gritty kid.
I hate
can
to
really
hear that.
score.
Yeah.
And that's going to hurt them in this situation. I think they have enough firepower to take down Heritage. Won't be surprised if Heritage gets them, but there's no way they're beating Petersburg. Even with Ray, they would have Ray, they're not going to beat Petersburg.
Well, ladies and gents, Ed said if Petersburg doesn't win a state championship, he's going to go, what was it, running nude in the ham factory? Is that what you were saying on the show?
With my blue Smithfield sport coat on. That's all.
Oh, my gosh. Derek, if it doesn't happen, if Ed's wrong, look out, folks. Look out. Hide the women and children because we don't want to see that sight. All right. Meridian's the 1. Warren County's the 4. Are going to play each other because Warren County beat William Monroe. Fauquier. You know what the Fauquier High School, by the way, graduate is our man Dwight Robinson at Lansdowne. He's a Fauquier graduate.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Skyline beats Kettle Run. So it's Skyline hosting Fauquier. Meridian, Warren County. I think Meridian and Skyline are going to play, I think, for the 3rd time. You know, Jim Smith's a veteran coach at this, a long time like yourself, was at Chantilly for years, goes to Meridian. They've been to States. Skyline's got talent. I think this one goes down to the wire with those two. And I think on my picks, I do have Skyline taking down Meridian in region championship.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
Okay. 3C. This is an interesting region to me because you got Western Albemarle as the 1 seed, and then you have them hosting East Rock. Rocktown, relatively new school, going to Allegheny if they beat Heritage Lynchburg. How about Liberty Christian? We know about them being a private school. Josiah Bryant, for them, is a really good player. They have shooting. They slipped by Rustburg in overtime. Now they go to Turner Ashby, who got a forfeit win, by the way. They had 4 losses. They got a forfeit win over Rocktown, which was 16-5. They flipped it late in the year. Stanton's the 7. They knock out your buddy Chad Edwards, the president of BCAV, defending champs in Spotswood. So already there's going to be 2 new champs. South Lakes did not qualify for regionals. Ed in 6, your buddy Mike Desmond. We'll give him a pep talk, keep him upright. And Spotswood is not going to repeat in Class 3. Wilson Memorial's on a hot streak. They've won like 20, 21 in a row. Jeremy Hartman's Green Hornets are playing mighty, mighty well. They're a team I'm circling. If they get through this portion of the bracket, look out for them. I think a Wilson Memorial Western Albemarle could be a fascinating game in the region final. And I know you say Lake Taylor Petersburg in the championship for the states, not just the region, but keep an eye on those 2, the 1 and 2 seeds. Western Albemarle, who I highlight there, and Wilson Memorial, who I highlight there, as they could be a team that could find their way into a championship Saturday or whatever it is. If it's on Saturday or Thursday or Friday this year, I forget, for Class 3. But watch out for those 2.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, but something tells me watch out for the winner of Liberty Christian and Turner Ashby.
Okay. We go down to Class 3, Region D. Hidden Valley's the 1. Lower Botetourt's the 8. Tunstall, Abingdon, Christiansburg, Pulaski County, Cave Spring, William Byrd. I'm going to go with my man Jacob Gruss at Cave Spring. I like his inside-outside mix. They've been a little bit inconsistent down the stretch, but I think as a 3 seed, I think they have a real good shot to take it.
Kind of lean towards Cave Spring myself, but Christiansburg catches my eyes for some reason.
Christiansburg. Okay. So that is what it looks like there for Class 3 boys and girls. So we got our man Diabolical chiming in. Does the Veach still let us watch region games? Yes, you can. I'm not sure what he asks by that. If you're having a hard time finding those games, here's what I would suggest, Diabolical, on NFHS. Go to our VirginiaPreps.com Tournament Central page. You'll see a link to it, a couple of links. My promo code, which if you still use, I think you get a discount, by the way, from our great friends at the NFHS. But you click the link, and you should be able to find it up there. You have to type it in. Like I know, for example, last night, the Martinsville-Gretna game was labeled as away versus Martinsville. So you might be, if you're looking for a specific team, say you're in Class 5 today, if you're looking for Maury or Bethel or Nansbury or Kings Fork, you have to look. It sometimes is labeled differently, and it's labeled by the administrators, so that might throw you off. But I'd say 90% of the games are up there. Trust me, you can find them. But you have to look for it. I'm not sure how it's labeled today for 5B. For example, you have a quad header over there, and you have games in 1B going on today, but they are up there. You can watch. He wants to watch all the Northview games, and yes, you should be able to see them up there today. In fact, what I'll do, although I have ODU women's basketball responsibilities, if I get a chance before tip-off, I will try to put out the link to those if I do locate them through my Twitter or X feed, because I see he's chiming in on X. So there you have it. And Ed, by the way, loves watching games on NFHS. Don't you?
Yeah, I'm on NFHS as much as possible.
Yes, he is.
Today,
sometimes so much that he bumps people off that are watching, but go ahead.
Well, some people don't need to be on there as much. That's the whole fact. Us coaches need to be on there because we got to see what's going on.
Wow.
And it is great. And like you said, VHSL has nothing to do with that. That's the NFH network and the games there. And the individual gyms, in terms of some of those cameras, can be a little crazy. Some of them don't have.
But I'll tell you what, I think it's much easier to watch for basketball and indoor sports than outdoor sports such as football or field hockey, soccer. But I think it's a fabulous tool. I think we've become so accustomed or conditioned to expect things in our lives. But I think back to when we didn't have this, and now we have this. It's such a luxury. And I'll be honest with you, it's so good in a lot of gymnasiums. I'm not just, people say, oh, you're just slurping them up, or I'm being serious. I can actually watch and cover a game in some instances better off that than in person. And that's the honest to God truth, because I've sat here with multiple computers wherever I am. I can be, in a different state and watch and cover a game better than live, because I got the stats. I can rewind, fast forward, and get it out quicker to the public that follow that information. And that's a really cool thing with technology now. It is.
Yeah, because you can watch two games at once if you really needed to. And you're crazy enough to do that and probably get.
I'm definitely crazy enough. I take the tablet, I put one on the tablet, I put one on the computer, put one on the TV.
And if you don't get all the stats, you do what you normally do, just make it up and it looks good.
Yeah, but it's a neat thing. Our man Super E chiming in. Now listen, there is something about the in-person heat. There's no question about that. You get to feel a sense of the players, and Ed's that way. I'm sure he'll talk about it when he's scouting, because he'll tell me a lot of times I can't see different heights. There's a lot of great things. But I'll tell you another thing. It's great. Our show being on YouTube too, as we see our pal Justin Villas over there at Hampton chimes in. I love that they did that dump years ago on the Hampton channel, TV channel. They had all those games up there, and it was great for me because I wasn't around covering the Ronald Curry, Allen Iverson, Michael Vick era. But now I get a chance to go back and see what people talked about. And it's like this, you have a greater appreciation for that, because it's one thing to hear it, but then to actually visually see it, whether it be in person live like Super E highlighted there, Ed, or some of the old archive games. And sometimes you go back and watch a game and you'll see something you missed, whether you were there or, you'll catch something. But it's really, really cool. Really, really cool.
And as we have said before, we have Hatfield and Young have put themselves out there, NFHS, local streaming, whatever. You need some broadcaster. He'll do the play-by-play. I'll try to give you my opinion.
We've done a lot of these
for a very nominal fee.
Yep.
And we would make it even better than what it is. But that's for the powers to be.
We did the Woodside Way showcase last year on Cova Sports TV right here. You and Jack Lowe did the Virginia Preps Classic for us on Cova Sports TV. Darnell Moore and I got to do the Region 5A football championship with Green Run and Indian River because the camera was down. We think the people at Green Run were asking us to do it. We did it. And we've done various things on Cova Sports TV, be it field hockey, soccer. They can watch 7-on-7 at the Plex. Football games, we have all kinds of things. Lacrosse has been on there too, so we're always available to do that. But there are games up there for free. But again, it's an awesome thing to have these type of resources to do this, because again, this sort of opened our eyes during COVID, Ed, when you couldn't go out And I remember getting messages from people saying, how are you in 7 different places in the state? I'm like, no, I'm sitting at home watching 7-8 games. It was, for me, first of all, it's safe, number one, because people had COVID and you didn't want to catch something. But 2, I could see different parts of the state when a lot of people couldn't do that at that time. So it was a neat luxury that the NFHS and other streaming devices, there are others besides that, afford us that to do. So it's really cool to see. And our man Diabolical chiming in. Advocate for the district tournaments, AAA, AA, single A. It's going to happen 5 years. I miss the Southeastern. Listen, people do miss the district tournaments. There's no question about it. And there still are district tournaments, Diabolical, in other parts of the state. But I will propose this to people now, because you have teams in different classifications. Take the Peninsula, for example. If you've got a team that's in 5 or a team that's in 4 or a team that's in 3, you say, Eds Bay Rivers, you got 4, 2, 3. Across the board, it's hard to do a district tournament. I would love to see all of our districts in the 7-5-7. Beach, Eastern, Southeastern Peninsula Rivers get in a room and say a way we can do this where it's during the middle part of the season around Christmas time, tournament time. It helps with the revenue to get, certainly more fans in the seats and do it then and make those points. It has to be universal, though, because if you get one district that says we're not doing it, it's not going to happen. Make those points double or make it worth it. Because if you do district tournaments now, right before the playoffs of regionals, or you do it in the preseason like the Eastern District did, it has no meaning to it, no significance. And coaches like yourself, Ed, because I've had coaches tell me this to my face, we don't really care who wins these games. It's like an exhibition or scrimmage, and you don't want that because then it takes on an NBA All-Star game type of feel or a Pro Bowl type of feel. And that doesn't do any good. It does you no good.
Number one, Diabolical. You can rest at ease. You're never going to see single A, double A, and triple A again.
That's not going to happen.
And I'll be honest with you, as a coach, veteran coach, we don't need it. The 6 is good enough for me. I'll drop down to 5 if need be.
I was going to say, I think 5 or 4 would be okay, but the 3 is not going to happen. That ship has sailed, unfortunately.
I'm more, if I have to really throw a dart, let it land on 5, but not because I'm going to jump in the pool with everybody else. Whatever football's doing, everybody else should. And football is definitely never going back to just 3 classifications.
No.
And you can't let football have 6 champions and the other sports don't. Doesn't make sense. And as far as district tournaments, they're a waste of time. And Matt just told you the biggest reason why. You have too many teams to different levels. Bay Rivers, we got 2, 3, 4. Can't do it.
But how come they're doing it in Northern Virginia, in the Patriot District, and in those other districts, and it's working at? Because you do have the ability to do it. You do.
Well, whatever format they're using, because if they're playing everybody who's different levels together, how does that determine who gets to go?
Well, not everybody. Most of them are in the same, but there are cases where you'll take a national district team, not so much a Patriot District team, and I think like 1 or 2 might be in Class 5 as opposed to Class 6. For example, the Commonwealth District, which is Massaponax, right? They did a Commonwealth District tournament that they won, and they're in 5. But you have Brook Point and Colonial Forge in 6, so they did make it work. But look, I don't think the district tournaments have the ability to fly here unless you get everybody on the same accord. And pulling that off is going to be too difficult to get 5 districts on the same page to do it that way. Because unless you can do it that way to make it have some meaning, it's just not going to work.
Remember now,
when you do it, it's the thing. You do it start of the year, end of the year. I suggest middle of the year, like a Christmas tournament type of deal. You have a week in the schedules built in for that, either coming out of Christmas break, right before Christmas break, or during Christmas break, where you can do that. But getting all 5 to agree and do that and make it have meaning, that's a hard ask. It is.
Yeah, and if you do that, what you're telling is you're going to have schools give up home games to play in a tournament at somebody's court, unless you play, the opening round at different home court. However you would do it, some kind of ranking. You're going to have some say yes, you're going to have some say no.
Right.
I didn't mind a few years ago. Remember we went to the new regional play where they put teams in like
we had conferences. We had conferences. Yeah.
And
you missed the Crooked Road Conference and the Ironclad Conference and the Monitor Merrimack Conference. You missed the conference. See, Jack Baker, like yourself, Jack Baker at Maury he actually liked the conferences. They had the rivalry they built with Green Run and teams from the beach and across the board. There were some that liked the conferences, but I thought the overwhelming reaction to conferences was 80%, 20% hated it. That's what I got from my interaction with people.
And the reason why is because you had changes, which hadn't occurred forever. A lot of people don't like change.
You like change. I hate change.
Some of the conferences, you had schools a little bit too far away from each other.
Yes.
So travel was a little ridiculous.
Yes.
That was a problem. There you can do that, and then you would have a regional tournament, which would be, i.e., your district tournament.
We don't need Menchville and Hickory playing twice a year, making that trip. We don't need Gloucester playing. We don't need that. I'm sorry.
Right. And that was the issue. And then, if I'm not mistaken, you had a situation in softball where I think Hickory and Grassfield played each other at Gloucester because Gloucester was in charge of softball.
Justin just hit the nail on the head, which you just touched on. That the hiccup is the bigger districts don't have the open slots. That's the problem around here. He hit the nail on the head. He's spot on because that's what we run into for football. Every year, what do the teams in the Eastern, and this is just football, but football is a sport that gets a lot of the attention beyond some of your winter, fall, spring sports. The Eastern districts got 3 open games for football, whereas now the Bay Rivers and the Beach are closed. So you have that big disparity where I was always said, I'd like to give you all one out of district game. It would solve things. And I feel like it's hurting the Bay Rivers and the Beach when it comes to playoff time. I really believe that. But he hit the nail on the head. That's the problem, is the game limit. And then when you have weather issues, we see how it's affecting like the teams up in Richmond, the LC Birds that didn't get some of those games, and it had an impact on them. Let's go to our picks, though, for real quickly, the 2 and 1 regions. I should say Class 2 and Class 1. Boys side, who's winning this region, Ed? You got Greensville, you got Bruton, John Marshall, Poquoson, TJ. I've said TJ from the start. I'm sticking with TJ. Sorry, Jeremy. We love you coming on the show, but I think TJ has the most seniors and balance on the team.
And I said earlier I wanted to see my Bruton and Poquoson teams from Bay Rivers move on, but that's not going to happen. I think you're going to see – I'm going to lean the same way. I think Thomas Jefferson, Armstrong, Marshall, Greensville will be the 4 that'll move on. It'll be Greensville and Thomas Jefferson in the final.
By the way, Troy Tomlin for John Marshall, 2027 guard. You know, they played J.R. Tucker this year, and he dropped like 54 points in the game. So wow. He came from Paul VI. He came from PVI. I think he came from PVI thinking he was going to play with a bunch of other guys that ended up going to Petersburg, but that's no story for our time. Nonetheless, he's a D1 prospect.
He missed the bus. That's what happened.
He is a scorer. He is a scorer. He can get it going, no question about it. Our man Diabolical. This is a long one here. Watched y'all play Booker T and Miles Holly. That entire season was so life-changing. Y'all played J.R. Smith. I missed that competition feeling. I was introduced to basketball through you and Nansman. Appreciate you chiming in, though. But no, listen, a lot of people feel the same way Diabolical does, too. They miss the nostalgia of what we had. And that goes to the people in the PD. That goes to people in the 90s, 2000s. They miss that nostalgia. They miss it in college basketball and college sports when you had those CAA rivalries with Old Dominion and George Mason and William & Mary and Jimmy. Those days are unfortunately behind us and gone. We wish we'd have them back, but sometimes things changes, seismic changes across the board in the landscape in high school athletics and college sports. And, those days are not coming back, unfortunately. To be or not to be, that's the question. Strasburg, Central, Woodstock, Page, Buckingham. If there's a sneaky team I'm circling that can win this region, it's Page County. I was high on them to start the year. I wouldn't be stunned if they win that region.
Yeah, you could say that. I'm going with Scottsburg. I'm staying with number 1.
You're a chalky guy. He's going to get too much chalk. And we mentioned it earlier in the show real quickly before we get to 2 girls and 1 girls and 1 boys. Liberty Bedford beats Glenver. Nelson County, my pick from the start of the year to win the state championship. This region's packed here, folks, in Class 2. It might be your toughest region. Floyd County, our buddy Brian Harmon gets it done over Radford, 62-55. He had taken an L to them previously. And then Martinsville loses to Gretna, 67-66. They had a breakaway, steal, and a dunk up 2 with 8 seconds to go. They brick the dunk. The young man who bricks the dunk then reaches in and commits a foul. They go down to the Hawks. They make the first free throw, miss the second, and Rayshawn Logan, their decorated record-setting quarterback, gets the putback, and time runs out, and Gretna, the 7 seed, stuns the 2 seed, Martinsville. Ed Young's pick to win the state championship, and you owe Gary Hall a couple of boxes of tissues that you guys can share as KG veteran coaches with your 500-plus wins that came back to the sidelines and both bowed out in round 1 in heartbreaking fashion. His was a little more heartbreaking and gut-wrenching than yours. I hate to tell you, but it was.
The way I heard how they lost, yes. I'm going to agree with that because they were much closer to victory than what we were. We blew it. It took 3 minutes for us to blow it. They blew it right there.
Does Gretna do it again and beat Floyd County is the question.
No. Floyd County.
I think you're sleeping on Gretna, man. You're sleeping on them Hawks.
If they're a pillow company, that's fine. I'll continue to sleep on them. Give me Nelson County.
I'm with you. I think Nelson. Of course, Liberty had the unfortunate with Coach McSweeney, his passing, so they've had a coaching change this year. They're not your ordinary one seed. They've had a great year, but I'm with you. I think Nelson's going to take it. That inside play with Bryce Giles and Colton Ward too much for teams, and we'll see if they end up hosting it. We're waiting to see what's going to be the 2D bracket. Let's go to Class 2 on the girls' side. 2C is set. You got Chatham, Radford, Floyd County, the 6, Liberty Bedford, the 2. I think Liberty Bedford girls are in better shape here, and I can see them winning that region, believe it or not, in 2C. 2B, you got Clark County, who I love a lot here. I think they're getting to the state championship. I think they're probably going to have a great chance to win it. Stewart's Draft, Strasburg. They've had some battles there, but I like Clark County there. And in 2A girls, Prince Edward's the 1 seed, John Marshall's the 2 seed, Bruton the 3, Arcadia. This one's a little more wide open. I like John Marshall girls, though, when it's all said and done and the dust settles. So give me a 2 seed, a 1 seed, and a 2 seed, Edward.
All right. I'm going to go Class 2 Region A. I'm going to stay Prince Edward at 1.
For the girls, okay. What's your girls for 2B here? Any upsets, by the way?
Go back to that you want me to look for an upset for that one?
Well, you could whatever draws you here. You got any upsets? Anything shock you here?
Greensville County at 5 will be over Arcadia at 4.
Okay,
that'll probably be the only one. I like Stewart's Draft in this.
Do you?
I like Stewart's Draft.
Okay, and they did beat them once here recently, if I'm not mistaken. They just beat them. I think it was. We talked about it on the show last week. That could happen. All right, and then that's your 2B, your 2C. Chatham's the 1, Radford, Floyd, and Liberty. Boy, Floyd put it on Appomattox, though, didn't they?
Yeah, that's a little surprising. I'll probably go. My eyes are looking at Liberty Bedford.
That's
I'll go
that's
with Chatham.
going.
Yeah, I'll probably stay with Chatham, but I can see Liberty Bedford winning that.
Beg your pardon. It wasn't Stewart's Draft that beat Clark County. It was Strasburg, 48-47, going back here recently. I misspoke on that. So there you have it for 2. On the girls for 1, we're waiting for teams that's outside us 1B. Well, good to know we didn't jinx Coach Johns last week. His Surrey girls got it done. They beat Appomattox, and now they'll take on Rappahannock County to try to go to states. Luray Riverheads. Luray, Coach Joe Lucas's team, hard to deal with. They're going to be a force. They've been to the state finals before, but I think we're looking at probably a Luray-Surrey showdown. That's what I think.
I'd go with that, and I'm gonna hope for Surrey with all them freshmen, that magical season. What, they win 1 game last year?
No, they were 0-23. Remember,
they're winless, and look where they're at now. Wow,
4 freshmen, incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. Waiting for 1C and 1D. We should have 1D later today here. And then in 1A on the boys' side, Northumberland, Colonial Beach, Lancaster, Chincoteague, Rappahannock, West Point, Northampton, Middlesex. Northumberland struggled down the stretch, Ed. We know about Lancaster's recent runs here in history, winning a couple state titles when they had Troy Henderson, who's now at Tennessee in the SEC. But Northumberland's got the 1,000-point score, and Tyreek Lundy. Rappahannock has beaten them. Northampton's no slouch. I'm going to stay with Northumberland, but I do it with some caution because I worry about the way they finished the year. It was not great. And we talked about it earlier with a couple teams that stubbed their toe late. Does that linger into the playoffs, or is it the reset button and you get back to what you were for most of your 15, 20, 22, 23 games in the regular season?
I think they could get back, especially against Colonial Beach. After that, it's going to be tougher again if they're in that in kind of a fog area that they're playing in. But Northampton, I would say Northumberland in the final. But Northumberland, after Colonial Beach, be careful. Lancaster would be a team I'm looking at.
Ed's not a fan of the ponies at Chincoteague because they never call him back for a game. He's upset about them.
Love the ponies of Chincoteague. Love the ponies on the beach.
Tell the truth. Don't lie. 1B, Cumberland Riverheads. Cumberland's a great story, by the way. Rappahannock County, Alta Vista. I hate to say this because Alta Vista's just been there every year. I just don't have enough faith, trust in Cumberland despite their gaudy record, to go beat Alta Vista in a second-round game. I just think Casey Johnson, remember his father, late Bob Johnson, legendary coach. Look, I just think his teams know how to respond in the playoffs. They've been to the States before. Brunswick had a late bad game against Greensville, but Shereka Walker's got a talented team. I'm going to stick with Luray, though, to win this region when the dust settles, because they have Matthew Owens, the JMU pledge. They have his sharpshooting and his clutch abilities, and I just think Luray, having played schools in Class 2 in their district, larger classifications, dropping down to Class 1 this year, they were my preseason pick to win the title, and I'm not going to change from them now.
Yeah, I was looking at Luray too, but I don't want to keep picking everybody you're picking. So for the heck of it, I will jump over to Cumberland.
Really? You're going to take the Dukes?
Yeah.
We're the Dukes of Cumberland High. We are the Dukes of
Stick with
Cumberland
the
High.
Dukies.
All right, and we wait for the C and D bracket, so that's going to cover it as Ed takes a sip of his OJ, and we'll come back and put the finishing touches on this episode of 757 Sports Talk with a little college hoops chatter right here on Cova Sports TV. Back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach, Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
Hey Alexa, is Matthew Hatfield a genius?
From rocketreach.co. With a robust skill set that includes teamwork, leadership, data analysis, project management, French and more, Matthew Hatfield contributes valuable insights to the industry.
You heard it there, folks. You heard it right there.
You didn't know I could speak French, did you?
Yeah, people got to understand. Alexa really is not as intelligent as people think she is, and she gets things mixed up. She's older, so people
What?
just
You're older. You get things mixed up. What's that supposed to mean?
No, I deal a lot with Siri. I asked Siri if she loves me, and she said I cannot divulge that out loud. So
yeah,
ours is a
You want to
hidden.
break your feelings, wants to let you down easy, like all the other ladies that you talk to in your life.
Hold on.
Oh gosh, please don't.
Siri, do you love Coach Young? Siri,
Silence is pretty telling.
Siri,
I think she's dumped you.
she dumped me.
Yeah, she dumped you for another user.
See, when I mentioned the name Alexa, that made her mad.
Yeah, you got her jealous. let's play a little edition of Take Your Pick college basketball style before we close out this episode of 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Take your pick. Tennessee's 19-7, and they're at Vanderbilt, who's 21-5. Mark Byington has done wondrous things at Vandy. And by the way, one of their top scorers for the Vanderbilt Commodores is a guy who hails from the Commonwealth and won Tyler Nickel for the Vandy Commodores on the season this year, Ed. He is averaging just under 15 points per game, 14.7. He's the all-time leading scorer in VHSL history out of East Rockingham. Meanwhile, for Tennessee, their leading scorer is the fabulous freshman, one Nate Ament, a projected lottery pick. 18.2 points, 6.4 rebounds per game. Started out his high school career at Colgan for the Sharks and Jason John before he ended up transferring to Highland School and ended up being the Gatorade State Player of the Year. Jacoby Gillespie, the point guard for Tennessee. Vanderbilt is favored by 3.5 at home in this game, and I got the Commodores, to get it done. I'm not sure about the Maury Commodores to get it today, although you never can count out D Nice. He's got tricks up his sleeve, as you said, but I got Vandy at home taking care of business against Rocky Top.
Yeah, if this was at Rocky Top, I would go Tennessee, but it isn't. Give me the Vandy's by 5.
All right, that's your pick. Vandy by 5. Our next one, and take your pick. We haven't given enough love to Ryan Odom and the University of Virginia this year. And why not? Have you watched them lately? They're 23-3, Ed. They're a 7.5-point favorite today at home against Miami, who's had a resurgent season themselves. 21-5 are the Canes. Malik Renew, former Indiana guy, averaging over 19 a game. But this is a Virginia team that's just balanced. They defend. They're well-connected, 4 double-figure scores. They don't wow you athletically, but they're fundamentally sound, 81 a game, almost 82 a game. And they absolutely smacked Damon Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse, and Georgia Tech after beating Ohio State by 4 last weekend. Cavaliers again favored by 7.5. What do you think? The Who's at home trying to get to 24-3. They look like the second best team in the ACC behind Duke.
I kind of concur with that, and I think they'll get it done. Miami's nice win a few weeks ago was against Carolina after Carolina came off that win over Duke, but don't think Miami can sustain it enough. I go Virginia by 7 in this one.
Yeah, Virginia does have 2 out of 3 losses in conference play. One of them was to Carolina, you mentioned earlier, at home. But they are well positioned to get a nice seed. Maybe a top 4 seed is going to unveil that this weekend on CBS. I think UVA wins, but they might not cover. It doesn't matter as long as they get the W. That's all the Wahoo fans truly care about. Take your pick. Big one in the Big 12. Arizona, they've lost back-to-back. Can it be 3 straight? They traveled to Houston. Kelvin Sampson's Cougars, who had a rough go of things, to close out one of their recent games as well. Iowa State got them. That Big 12 is a bear. The Cougs with Kingston Fleming's a projected first-rounder. Arizona, we know about Koa Pete's been out with the injury. What do you think? Zona Cats at the Cougs and Mr. Sampson.
This looks like a Final Four matchup when you look at it.
Houston's favored by 6.5, by the way, at home.
I'm going to go Arizona.
Outright.
I'm going to go Arizona in a nail biter to the I would say Arizona by 3.
I got Houston winning it, but because of their inconsistencies at the foul line and when their half-court offense breaks down, I don't have any faith in Kelvin Sampson drawing up a winning offensive play. We know he's more known for their rugged, tough play, physicality, grind you out. I think they could be a little tight, and their lead of about 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 could shrink down in the final seconds, although Zona's not a great three-point team. And I think that's their weakness that's being shown here lately. Arizona's inability to make a bunch of threes. Give me Houston by the hair on their chinny chin chins. Chinny chin chins. Iowa State, BYU, take your pick. No Richie Saunders. By the way, the Big 12 injury is really tough to see. You hate it for Richie Saunders out for the year. Cougars had to survive one in overtime last week against one of the worst teams in the league in Colorado. They then lost to Arizona. Iowa State had that big win we mentioned over the Houston Cougars. My man Momcilovic can knock down the 3 balls. Oh, yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Iowa State goes to Provo, though, against A.J. DeBonsa, projected top 3 pick. Some say he should go 1 now over Darren Peterson because Darren Peterson decides to play when he wants to and when he doesn't want to play. I mean, we know how great he is, but the guy now, this guy has more nagging injuries and illnesses than my late grandma when she was getting ready to kill him. I mean, what is wrong with this guy? Can he play? I mean, I know how great he is, but I mean, you can't if you look like Superman for 20 minutes, you can't all of a sudden turn into a guy that's on his deathbed. I just don't get it. But anyhow, that's a Kansas discussion for another time. Iowa State at BYU. What do you got?
Iowa State by 8.
By 8. So they covered a 2.5 on the road. You know, the way this Big 12 is, Iowa State's been through the ringer here lately. They've been playing great. They look like a Final Four team, having beaten all the teams that they've played here. They didn't have that one slip up at TCU, but beating Kansas by 18, beating Houston. This is kind of a trap spot, and I think BYU is going to get them. Their second half comebacks, this has the feeling of an Iowa State 10 to 15 point lead, and BYU completes the comeback with Robert Wright III and DeBonsa. So give me BYU to pull the slight upset in this one. And then here's our final take your pick. It's the granddaddy of them all, not the Rose Bowl, but it's Michigan, it's Duke, it's Boozer. It's Lindenborg. This Michigan team is deep, 9 or 10 deep. And I got a funny feeling that Michigan's not going to just win this game, Ed, but I think they're going to handle Duke. I know I hear all the time about how great Duke's defense is, but I think they depend so much on Boozer. I think Michigan, if they bring their A game, we talk about the Hampton Crabbers, if Michigan brings its A game, they're the best team in America. They've looked like it all year, all their 20, 30-point wins or blowout wins. They absolutely smoked Gonzaga this year in a big spotlight game. I think Michigan rises to the occasion. Remember, their one blemish was a game that you said would happen. They lose to somebody they shouldn't. It was in the Big Ten at home to Wisconsin. I don't fully trust Duke. I don't fully trust John Shire. Give me the Wolverines by double figs. Double figs.
Well, I trust John Shire, but I don't think he wins this game, and nor his Duke squad. I'm going to go Michigan too. I think Michigan will really show anybody that hasn't really seen them why they're number one. I think they'll take down Duke, but I have a feeling in my head, I don't know why, Duke will go further in the NCAA tournament than Michigan.
You got a lot of stuff rolling around in your head up there.
Yeah, it's crazy because I know you picked Michigan to give a year to win it all.
I'm going to give you a team. They weren't on my Final Four list, but I told you a couple weeks ago to make Sweet 16, but they are. I'm going to tell you right now, people save this clip, this tape, so if they get beat, we can always throw it back in my face. But Utah State has the potential to be a Final Four team. Utah State is really doggone good. Watch them the other night against Boise State, the way they defend. They have shooters all over the floor. They're connected. Utah State from the Mountain West, they are absolutely, to me, this is a strong statement to say, they have been as impressive as any team in the country besides Michigan. And that includes undefeated Miami of Ohio. That includes, of course, the guys that took down VCU last night. You saw the brawl, right, with VCU. You saw the brawl. Did you not see the brawl with St. Louis and VCU? I'm sure you saw it, right? The bench clearing brawl. You didn't see it. That includes the Billikens. That includes the Red Hawks, St. Louis and Miami of Ohio. I think Utah State is, I'm not saying they're the number 2 team in the country, but to me, as far as impress meter goes, only one that's impressed me more than Utah State is Michigan. They're really good. Watch out for them. Watch out. So they're one of my picks, sneaky picks, to make a deep run in March. Sweet 16, Elite 8, maybe even Final Four. Yeah.
And I watched Miami of Ohio to see what all the hype about being undefeated is. And they play extremely hard. They play well together. There's no stud, so to speak. They will be a tough out for many teams, too. I know they're not going to go win the national title. They're not a Final Four team. I don't think they're Elite 8 team. You know, we get this time of the year, everybody wants to find those diamonds in the rough. So they do say, see how smart I am? I picked them back in February. But on the long run, it's going to be the teams like you just had up, Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Houston, Iowa State. Those are the type of teams that are going to get there. But watch Miami of Ohio. They're going to cause somebody a big headache.
First round, he's a big headache if they get in. If they lose the MAC championship and get booted out with one loss. But that's going to do it for this episode of 757 Sports Talk. We thank our interviews, our guests from Eric Brown and Gavin Kay of the Hampton Crabbers, Paul Hall of Warhill, and Jeremy Jordan Poquoson. I'm Matt Hatfield. You, sir, are?
I'm the coach, Ed Young. For the time being.
He said what? For the time being. We will catch you next time right here on Cova Sports TV. Have a great weekend, everybody.